And we're finishing off this morning with some Survivor and Burning Heart, a good song to finish off with, Greg.
Oh yeah, it's got me in the fighting mood now. God hope whoever's on first, Marty. Alright, thanks
Cheers,
very
have a good
much.
day.
You have a goodie. Alright, it is the 9 till noon show at 9 o'clock. Good morning, Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. School secretaries and caretakers go on strike later this month. The action, which coincides with the beginning of the school term, is being held by the trade union Forsa. It's calling for secretaries and caretakers to be given the same entitlements as their education colleagues, including pensions and access to bereavement leave. David Ahern, the chair of the Forsa School Caretakers branch, has been outlining why the action is being taken now.
It's about equality in the workplace. At the moment, secretaries and caretakers are not recognised as public servants, even though we work in a public service building. Our colleagues in the school, the teachers, the principal and the SNAs, when they retire, they will get a pension. On top of that, they have access to proper bereavement leave, critical illness leave and sick leave, all of which we don't have access to.
Crowds are gathering outside a London court to show solidarity for Niqab's Lee Mogohani. This morning, the Belfast rapper is appearing before Westminster Magistrates Court for the second time. Reporter Emily Keegan is there.
27-year-old Lee Mogohani, also known as Makara, first appeared before this court on the 18th of June after being charged with a terror offence on the 22nd of May. It's alleged he displayed a flag in support of Hezbollah at one of the band's London shows on the 21st of November last year. The group has repeatedly denied the charge. This morning, the court will hear arguments over its jurisdiction in this case. During Makara's first appearance, the defence said it would argue the charge was brought against him outside the 6-month limit for it to be dealt with in this court. Crowds have already started to gather outside the building, with performances and speeches scheduled across the morning, including that from names like Maverick Sabre and Gurriers. We'll also find out this morning if an Irish language interpreter has been secured after the request was made at the previous hearing. Emily Keegan at Westminster Magistrates Court in London.
Just 48 fines were issued across the country for dog fouling last year. Data collected by Vision Ireland shows no fines were issued at all in 14 of the 31 local authority areas in 2024. That list includes Donegal County Council. Cork County Council issued the most fines for dog fouling at 11, followed by Cavan and Fingal in Dublin, both of which issued 6. Vision Ireland has launched a Clear Our Paths campaign this week, highlighting awareness of the everyday obstacles faced by those with vision impairments on footpaths. There were 417 fines issued in Donegal in 2024 for parking on footpaths. And the Foyle Street car park in Derry reopens this weekend. The facility opposite the Guildhall has been closed since major NI waterworks began last year. With more, here's Tara Duggan.
The Foyle Street car park has been closed for a prolonged period to facilitate an extensive upgrade of the area's water and wastewater network. The work saw the replacement of the 100-year-old water network in this part of the city, as well as the installation of a dedicated stormwater pipeline and the completion of over 50 connections to local properties. Now that NI Water has completed the works, Derry City and Strabane District Council says it's back to business as usual from this weekend, and motorists will once again be able to access what is one of Derry City Centre's most popular parking facilities. The council says the closure helped accommodate changes to bus services for the duration of the works and kept public transport running smoothly during the scheme.
And looking at the weather forecast this morning, mostly dry with sunny spells. The chance of the odd light shower with long spells of sunshine for most through the day. A little cloudier the further northwest you go. Top temperatures today 17 to 21 degrees Celsius in light to moderate northeast winds. That's Highland Radio News. Back with news again at 10. Check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
Want to hear some good news? Ireland's first bulk reverse vending machines are being rolled out across the country. Want even more good news? This means you can return more plastic bottles and cans in one go, so you can do more for the environment and your community with every visit. Perfect for initiatives, charities or groups who might need to return a lot at once. For more information on the reverse vending machines in your area, visit return.ie.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday. It's the 20th of August 2025. How are you all keeping? I hope you're well. We're well here. Everyone seems to be in good spirits. which is good, isn't it? Good start to the day. Right, lots coming up over the next 3 hours. We'll keep you across all of the news, local, nationally and international. We try and get in behind the stories, bring you angles maybe that you don't get elsewhere. We're going to have your views, hopefully. I'll tell you how you send them in to us. And of course, we chat to people in our community with campaigns perhaps that they're involved in, issues that are important to them, or indeed anything at all that we feel relevant to the wider listening public. 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. If you want to give us a call, it is 07491 25,000. And we like your emails at comments@highlandradio.com. You can also reach out to us on our social media as well, of course, and that's where you can watch the show. We're on the Facebook app if you want to watch on your phone or tablet or laptop. We're on the YouTube app if you want to watch on those devices, but also your big TV in the corner of your room, in the corner of the kitchen, above the fireplace, wherever you choose to have it. Open up the YouTube app if it's a smart TV, which most are now, or you have a Fire Stick, and just watch us there. And we're on the X platform as well. Let's see what's making the pages of the papers today. We'll start with the local out today, the Finn Valley Voice. In a first for County Donegal, a new initiative has been launched to make the Twin Towns a more inclusive community for neurodivergent children and their families. Ballybofey and Stranola Integrated Community Company has established a committee to lead this project. Basic, with 2 C's, met with As I Am, Ireland's autism charity, yesterday, Tuesday, to consolidate the process. We're forming a small committee to advocate, promote and drive positive change. Committee members will have free access to our boardroom at the base for meetings and will provide support behind the scenes so they can focus on the important work. Okay, be interesting to track that and see how they get on. This is a story will resonate to many of you out there, hence why I have included it. It's in the Irish Independent. An unfair rule can leave people in low-paid work excluded from a medical card, while those on social welfare on similar incomes qualify automatically. It has emerged. So you could find yourself in a situation whereby you are working, you are on low pay, and your neighbour could be on social welfare, and the income is similar, except you're probably putting 38, 40 hours in, and they can get a medical card and you cannot. Now, I am not trying to pitch those on social welfare against those working. That's not the motivation of that comment. It's just to lay it out very, very clearly that this could end up being a disincentive to work, because a medical card is a very valuable card, as you might know, particularly in certain circumstances. Well, the unequal treatment needs to be changed, according to a pre-budget submission from the Citizens Information Board, which said last night that it received 38,733 medical card queries, where people whose entire income is from social welfare are automatically entitled to the medical card. Those on comparable non-social welfare income may not be eligible, it said. This means that people on low incomes from work may not qualify for a card, whereas those in receipt of a social welfare payment will. A recent ESRI report highlighted that the income limits for the medical card have not increased for those aged under 70 since 2005. Despite 26% price and 45% wage inflation since then, the inequality is a disincentive to work, it said. And I think that makes a great deal of sense. And as I say, this is not about, for me anyway, it's not about the fact that people on social welfare shouldn't receive medical cards. It's that, you know, it needs to be reviewed so that those that need it, who are working, also get it and don't have to jump through so many heaps and go through appeals hoops and go through appeals and so on and so forth. Any views on that? 086 60 25,000. Comment as you're listening. A 51-year-old man has died of injuries in hospital following an interaction with Garda. This is a story carried in all papers. I'm taking it from the Irish Times. His death is being investigated by Forsu, the Office of the Police Ombudsman, which has instigated a criminal investigation into the incident under powers granted to it by legislation passed last year. It's also been liaising with the Dublin City Coroner and the Office of State Pathologist in relation to a post-mortem. The man became involved in an incident with the Gardaí outside the Holiday Inn on O'Connell Street last Friday. The incident, which occurred at about 4:15 on Friday, was captured on CCTV. The exact nature of the interaction is not clear. It's understood Gardaí observed the man in what they believed was a highly intoxicated state, and while interacting with him, he fell to the ground and struck his head. The Police Service and Community Safety Act 2024 is legislation which allows the Ombudsman to begin a criminal investigation into an incident. The legislation also requires the Garda Commissioner to pass on any matter indicating that the act or omission of a Garda member may have resulted in the death of or serious harm to a person, which is a lot of legalese there. But I think there is some dispute as to whether or not the Garda pushed the person during this interaction. If it's on CCTV, it should be resolved really quite quickly, one would hope. That is a problem with some of those investigations. They can run on for quite some time. And one way or other, whether it's guilty or not guilty, they need to make sure that those investigations are fast-tracked. Interesting to see numbers actually on the cost of going to third level. Am I embarrassed to say? Well, not really. Neither of our two oldest boys went on to third level. They just went straight into work. I didn't do third level. So my understanding of this is from really on this program and chatting to friends and family and what have you. So I never really had to think about the costs, if that makes sense. So the costs are listed in one of the papers today, and they're local as well. The Irish Daily Mail: college students face costs of more than 16,000 this year, new research shows. The total is up almost €600 on last year, with costs in even the cheapest town rising by 9%. So how much does it cost on average to go to college in Letterkenny? Now, this is not really necessarily, I don't think, going to apply to our listenership, because I presume this is people coming up from down the country. With the majority of students in Donegal attending Letterkenny LYIT, would they? Is it not LYIT? My God, I've gone back about 10 years. They probably commute from home, do they? I don't know. But anyway, someone coming to Letterkenny, the cost is as follows: €14,300. Now, total cost does not include fees. €14,300 on accommodation, €453 on groceries and utilities, €294 on entertainment or gym, €369 on transport, €140 average per month, $1,256. That's an increase up 9%, or €129 year on year. So that's a lot, isn't it? That actually, some of those figures seem really quite conservative. But anyway, you can see why families can't afford to send children to college, because you'd have to earn, even if you were a big earner, you'd have to earn €32,000 to bring home the €18,000 to pay for someone going to college. The Fine Gael race for the Irish is pretty much done and dusted, as reported in the Irish Daily Star. Former Minister Heather Humphreys will be Fine Gael's candidate for the Irish presidential election. The ex-Cavan Monaghan TD confirmed yesterday she put her name in the hat following the party's Executive Council meeting on Monday. MEP Sean Kelly also put himself forward, but both need 20 signatures from Fine Gael's parliamentary party for an official contest. It doesn't look like he's going to get his. Heather Humphreys is well into the 30s now, and mathematically, if everybody did what they say they were going to do in terms of supporting her, Sean Kelly actually can't even contest it because he can't make up the numbers. But I think I read a quote from him late last night saying that, a commitment may not be cast in stone and is still in the fight. Well, anyway, this means Mr. Kelly could not receive the required 20 for an internal contest to take place. Both previously ruled out seeking a nomination when Fine Gael first sought a candidate. And it's quite interesting in that I see some newspapers speculating today that her run for the Irish could almost be like a referendum on Simon Harris. He's had a very controversial summer, of course. 32,000 people have signed a petition for him to step down. Even him simply going to an Oasis concert now is divisive. So he's a divisive character. And there is some concern within the party, according to some reports, that her candidacy and whether or not people vote for her or not will be like a popularity contest for Simon Harris. So that'll be interesting, won't it, to see how that develops. I say that. Will it be interesting? I'm not really 100% sure. This might sound morbid because, death is kind of morbid, but someone has done and I thought it's somewhat interesting, a survey on most popular songs at funerals. This is the Irish Daily Star. Andrea Brocelli and Sarah Brightman's Time to Say Goodbye is the most popular song to play at a funeral, which is quite interesting. Co-op Funeral Care studied the songs used at services it's arranged over the past year. The second most popular was Frank Sinatra's My Way, with Tina Turner's The Best and Westlife's You Raise Me Up in the top 10. So it isn't kind of interesting. It shows people's attitude to death and the end of life, because I think if you play My Way, I think really it's more of a, I don't know it's as serious as Time to Say Goodbye, if that makes sense. Liverpool and Celtic football anthem You'll Never Walk Alone by Jerry and the Pacemakers was the top sports themed song. Quirky tunes included Ding Dong, The Witch is Dead from The Wizard of Oz, Dance Monkey by Tones and I, the Jaws movie soundtrack, and We Like to Party by the Venga Boys. So what angle would you go on? Would you go for the Jaws theme? Dun, 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 dun. It's an interesting choice for a funeral, but people have chose this. Now, this smells very much to me like a Britain story. I don't think it's necessarily an Irish story, but listen, whether you want to be serious or not, what would your song to die for be? What would you like to have played at your funeral? If you could play anything, let us know. 08660 25,000. I'd have to think on that myself. And many of you listening, I'm sure, watched the last two nights of The Rose of Tralee. I didn't watch it just because it's just that it's too long for me with what I have to do in the evening with Hudson and everything like that. But anyway, so I didn't get to see it. But I did read that Laois Rose Caitlin Cummins was crowned the 2025 Rose of Tralee last night as 32 Roses hit the stage at MTU's Sports Academy in Kerry. Co-host Dahi O'Shea and Catherine Thomas announced the winner, who will be able to trot the globe for the next year with a €25,000 travel bursary. And I'm not sure if she was a popular winner or not. I think they're all popular at that stage. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the last two nights, and fair play to Caitlin Cummins. All right. Good morning, Dolores, Audrey and Annie, some of our regular viewers who tune in every day to watch the show, and a big hello to all of you listening in Radio Land as well. We'll be back with our first guests on the show very shortly.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
By taking the bus, the train, walking or cycling whenever you can, you're playing a part in helping to reduce Ireland's transport emissions. To help you on your way, this year over €1.6 billion is being invested in public transport nationwide, and over €1 million a day on our walking and cycling routes. This has helped more people than ever to access more sustainable transport, because wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Flame grilled steaks, fresh salads and indulgent desserts. It's all on the menu at the Woodbury Grill Bar and Restaurant at Arena 7. Great food, fast service and a warm welcome this summer at the Woodbury Grill Bar and Restaurant, Arena 7, Letterkenny.
Meet Kerry. She made big savings on her car insurance when she made the switch to Outsurance.
Hi, I'm Kerry. It's true, I saved €266 when I made the switch. And with the Out bonus, I'll get 10% of my premiums back in cash after 3 years claims free.
Nice one. For a competitive car insurance quote like Kerry's, call 1-800-600-400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison, the customer received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Car and home insurance is underwritten by Outsurance DAC. Outsurance DAC trading as Outsurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Step into National Heritage Week. Uncover the past, explore the present and connect with your community. From city streets to forest trails, discover the places, stories and people that shape who we are. Taking place from the 16th to the 24th of August, find events at heritageweek.ie. National Heritage Week is a programme of the Heritage Council, supported by the local authorities' heritage networks and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
The Northwest Truck Fest rolls back into Letterkenny this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road. Enjoy live music and a truckload of family fun. This ad is sponsored by JD Recovery Services, Kilmacrennan and Donegal Town, 9139303.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It is just literally turning 20 minutes past 9. Welcome back to the programme. One of the stories or issues that we discuss on this show that lights the phone lines up like a few others is dog fouling. And it's not in a particular area. We have it on town footpaths. We have it on roads around towns. We have it on nature walks. We have it absolutely everywhere. People really are peed off with dog fouling and the lack of action. It's a very small number of dog owners that are responsible for an awful lot of dog poo. You see it. You see them pretending they can't see the dog poo. But anyway, so often then we talk about enforcement, right? What's the situation with enforcement? And you may have heard in the news, or maybe you didn't, that data gathered by Vision Ireland from local authorities in 2024 show that not one single fine was issued in County Donegal for dog fouling. So there is no deterrent. The only thing that we can hope is that we keep talking about it and people change their behaviour, but they're not changing their behaviour. So not one single fine in Donegal for dog fouling. Now, unfortunately, we're not on our own on this one, because there were only 48 dog fouling fines issued by local authorities last year, which is brutal, isn't it? Now, we do enforce stuff to do with footpaths, because in County Donegal last year, fines issued for parking on footpaths, which is also a nuisance. Maybe it's not high enough, but anyway, 417 people were fined last year for parking on footpaths in Donegal. How many fines issued for dog fouling? 0. So I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone. But, you know, I think local authorities need to sort of listen to the views of people and say, right, enough is enough. We're sick and tired of it on our shoes. We're sick and tired of it on the wheels of our wheelchairs. We're sick and tired of it on our canes. And we're sick and tired of it on our feet, our buggies. It's dangerous stuff. But listen, there's just absolutely zero enforcement. Quite literally zero enforcement. 086 60 25,000. If that surprised you, if you have a comment in relation to that. Morning, Greg. Parking at the base of Errigal needs to be reviewed. It is extremely dangerous when travelling from Letterkenny to Dunlewy when coming around the bend before the car park. Cars are parked fully on the road, which only leaves one lane open. The speed limit there is 100 kilometres per hour, which is fine if the road is clear, but you need to brake hard after the bend. There should be a shuttle bus from Dunlewy Village or a footpath for walkers. I've passed this on a number of occasions, and you do see the cars there. And I mean, obviously, the cars would be better parked somewhere else. I never saw it quite as bad as you've seen it, but obviously, I may not have been there in the days that you were. But ideally, it's such an attraction. We do need better parking. It is complicated, of course, because that is a special area, isn't it? Staying on the roads, drivers on the road, people driving at 20 kilometres per hour should be an offence. Slow drivers, this caller says. People who can't overtake, or even worse, you're holding up traffic. It's not good enough. People take risks then as a result of people who overtake as they are in such a hurry. Now, you've said people driving at 20 kilometres per hour. I think really maybe what you're talking about is people driving at maybe 70 or 80 and 100, if we're being, you know. I don't encounter many people driving at 20 kilometres per hour. So I think really probably what you're talking about, is it those, you know, driving 5/8 of the speed limit, probably much faster than 20 kilometres per hour. I'm not sure. Is that a finable offence? Is that something that needs enforcement? At the end of the day, it is the driver from behind that takes the decision to overtake and could end up in a collision. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just throwing it out different points of view there. Morning, Greg. I have a dilemma. I'm wondering if any of your listeners are experiencing the same invasion of tiny, brown, black, creepy crawlies recently, or know where the source is. I can only think it has to do with the heat. The hardware shop gave me powder to put around the house and plus spray for inside, but although they reduced, they're still coming. They're kind of disgusting, and especially when one has visitors. Apologies if discussing this, if you have discussed this, as I haven't heard you for a while. Well, I'll tell you what happens. That comes up normally when we're doing the gardening slot. It didn't really come up this year as much as it has in the past, and it's actually damp sometimes. If you have store wood around the house next to a wall or something. But anyway, what are these little creepy crawlies? I can't remember. Let us know. And how do you stop them coming in? You flat out vacuuming them, I suppose. Right, now, a fascinating story published yesterday in the Inishowen Independent. An internal audit has issued a scathing report regarding the misuse of Donegal County Council credit cards by members of staff. Almost €1 million was spent in 8 months from January to August 2024 across 276 credit cards. This is a lot of commercial rates or central government funding being spent. The man behind the story is Damien Dowds, and he joins us now. Morning, Damien.
Great, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I wish I got a credit card from Highland. I would hammer that bloody thing.
Too.
All right, so what is the story behind this, and sort of what kind of a grasp does the council itself have on these cards and the spending?
So an internal audit was carried out by the Donegal County Council's own internal auditor into the credit cards that are in use across the organisation. It was a follow-up audit from one that was carried out a couple of years previously. It wasn't expected to be a big in-depth thing. However, the auditor, when he started sampling some of the transactions and purchases made on council staff credit cards, found that there was quite a lot of poor practices being followed. Cards were being used inappropriately. And then he carried out a more in-depth investigation and carried out a deeper audit into that. And the findings for that were published in the last couple of weeks on the council's website. So I suppose the key finding on it really is that there's 276 credit cards held by 250 members of staff. That's about, I think, Donegal County Council, probably 1,100, 1,200 staff. So it's effectively one credit card for every 4 members of staff. €1 million, I think it was €10,000 short, €991,000 spent over 8 months from January to August of last year. If you would bring that up to a full year, you're looking at probably somewhere in the region of 1.3, maybe a wee bit north of that, €1 million spent on credit cards. And very often the credit cards are being used in a manner that's not consistent with the council's own policies. The council has certain policies in place for the purchase and procurement of goods and different services. And there's things that credit cards that are issued to staff are specifically not to be used for, and they're being widely and widespreadly used for that. And there's great frustration in the auditor's report when he is highlighting and outlining some of these practices that are going on.
A big proportion of spending comes from a relatively small amount of cards. The single biggest spender accounted for almost 40 grand. 5 other cards spent between 20 and 30 grand. I mean, that, like, I can be a spender if I have access to funds, right? I don't know what is being bought with this, but this is big money.
Yeah, it's a very substantial sum of money. So the top 25 spenders between them, from that top spender of almost €40,000 down to someone who spent about €11,000 over the 8 months, they account for 416,000. So that's probably accounting for a little under, about a third of it has been spent by the top 25 spenders. There was some detail done, which I didn't report in the Inishowen Independent or on Donegal Live on the big spender. But there was some details on it. It seems to have come from someone in the roads division. A lot of the information is redacted, which is fair enough. Names and so on are redacted, and that's fair enough. But a lot of the purchases are coming from someone, who's buying items for sewers and road gullies and so on. And the auditor had a bit of back and forth with that individual that they report on, and they're saying that these items needed to be got because projects that were underway required them, and the council's normal store or procurement process wouldn't be able to turn it around in time. So that was where the 39,000. But the auditor is a little wary of.
Well, I'd be a little bit wary about that, because I would have presumed that a lot of this stuff is bought through a tendering process, and then you sort of would have to wonder, is it all being bought in the one place? Is it perhaps maybe a business that that has secured a tender or a deal with the council. You know what I mean? Like, it is certainly worthy of greater investigation.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the point that the auditor makes as well. That particular credit card, there was €39,000 on it, 186 transactions over the course of the 8 months with that, of which almost 16,000 was with two companies based at the same location with the same VAT number. So effectively the same organization at €16,000 worth of materials or goods were purchased from that. And that did raise issues around tax clearance procedures, according to the auditor, and whether the normal purchase to pay cycle would have been more appropriate. And even down to, when an item is purchased from this particular supplier, the supplier isn't named, obviously that's redacted as well. When, a member of council staff then had to go and collect that particular item, whatever it may have been. And, the auditor was questioning whether that was a good practice on it as well. So, though that was just the single largest one, so there's €39,000 there. There's quite a lot of when you're issued with a credit card in Donegal County Council, and as I said, 1 in 4 staff seem to be issued with a credit card, which is I don't know too many organisations where a quarter of the staff would actually have company credit cards issued to them. But when you're given one of those credit cards, there's they come with policies that should be adhered to, but the auditor found that those policies are not being adhered to in any way at all. So, for example, travel and subsistence costs are not to be put through the company credit card or the council credit card and the council staff. And again, this isn't the councillors now. These aren't the councillors that we elect. This is the council staff. They were found to have, I'll just catch it here now, there was over 408 occasions when council staff put their travel and subsistence fees through the credit card to a total of €71,000.
So can I? Maybe it's ill-advised, but that sounds to me like they may have stopped and got petrol and something from the deli on the credit card. I'm not saying that's what they did, but when you talk about travel and subsistence, you're talking about petrol presumably or diesel. You're talking about food and maybe accommodation.
Yeah,
that could fall under that.
That's
so. In other words, you're whipping out the company credit card at the fuel station
to do that, and the way in which you're meant to do that. I mean, the auditor doesn't say that anyone that took travel and subsistence fees through the credit card wasn't necessarily entitled to them, but there is a process that will be followed within Donegal County Council and within any organisation where you submit your receipts and your invoices, and then you are reimbursed for those afterwards. And it just seems that this has been short-circuited and circumvented, and that's not the only major area where that's happening as well. The credit cards are specifically, again, a matter of council policy, specifically not to be used outside of the state. That is, not to be used outside of the Republic of Ireland, but on 529 transactions were carried out in Europe, the United Kingdom, and the United States to a value of 85,800.
That's interesting because they're not buying manhole covers in the United States.
No, so it does look like sometimes when council staff are, some of this might be purchases from online websites or whatever, that may be a little bit of that, but people may be on council business outside of the state and they are using their credit cards for that. Again, something that is expressly forbidden by the council policy and routinely ignored. And I suppose one of the concerns about this in general, Greg, and the one place that the auditor is really concerned about it is that, when people are presenting invoices and receipts for these, they sometimes are not clear, they're not legible, full information and the full detail isn't contained in them. And these are being signed off by the people in management positions who are authorised to sign these off, are being signed off, and sometimes they don't really know what they're signing off for.
Am I correct in saying that over 10% then of the money spent really can't be specifically accounted for? Is that what unreconciled really means?
Yeah, that's what I take that to mean as well. So so this audit was carried out throughout the first 8 months of 2024, and the auditor was working on that, and he presented his draft audit report in February. And in the middle of January, after presumably after the expenses run will be done in the middle of the month, he asked the finance section of Donegal County Council for a rundown on where stood the balance on all these, what we presume is somewhere in the region of 1.3 million euros worth of purchases, and 150,000 was unreconciled, which means that the invoices, the documentation supporting that hadn't been provided. And actually the auditor said that the finance staff had told the auditor and the auditor staff that this was a common occurrence, that of quite a substantial sum, as I say, 150,000 in the middle of January of this year was unaccounted for and unreconciled from last year. That hadn't been done. The other thing to note as well probably is that, you know, the previous audit that was carried out by the previous auditor was carried out in, I think it was 2022, and I think it was carried out in it was in 2020, at which time there was 223 purchase cards in use by staff in Donegal County Council. So the council has actually extended its use of credit cards in that period, and the finance staff report that this business of invoices and accounts being unreconciled, that is, you know, that is actually has worsened.
So what were the financial staff saying about this, I wonder? Is that reference because they've seen an auditor in, I presume they're frustrated if they can't account for all the money, credit card limits are being exceeded on a regular occasion. This would be annoying, I would imagine, for the bean counters, if I could put it like that. So was this, does this sort of maybe back financial staff's frustrations? And also, like, if an auditor come in, you would expect big change, but we saw a worsening.
Yeah, and like the previous auditor, when they submitted the report, it was submitted to the council, and again, it was submitted presumably to senior management. Actually, that's one of the most odd redactions in the document. The auditor's name is on the document, but the staff, presumably the senior staff to which the document was circulated, is redacted. So we don't actually know which members of staff within Donegal County Council had this document circulated to them. Now, why that would need to be redacted and why that wouldn't need to be a matter of public record is
plausible deniability. I don't know.
Well, that's exactly what it's for, because when the question will be asked by the elected members, how many credit cards does Donegal County Council operate, or how much was spent on them last year, how much was left over, how much was wrongly spent, how much was spent without invoices supporting them.
Does it reference how much interest was paid out of interest? Because
actually it doesn't know, but they
just wonder if they were all settled in a timely manner.
Well, again, the question of interest is only mentioned once in the audit. It did strike me, but they say that it's in the introduction, and the auditor says that the theory behind these cards is that, you know, there's a number of them. It's to reduce the number of purchase orders raised, because purchase orders within an organization, a lot of paperwork and so on, pay orders, facilitating reduced processing time, but it's to reduce the exposure of late payment interest. But that's the only mention of interest in it. I don't know, Greg. I would be assuming that Donegal County Council would be clearing its credit card bills every month. And so that they don't be caught for.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
We don't know that. Yeah,
I'm just thinking you're chasing people down for receipts. Can you clear it before the receipts are furnished? You know, like that's a lot of credit cards to try and keep a track of in a 28-day period.
Which probably would suggest that the bill is being cleared anyway, and then they're just trying to follow up and get the receipts, and they do as good a job as they can in the finance section of that, and they're not getting an awful lot of cooperation from the staff and from the authorizers within the different departments within Donegal County Council. In fairness, you know, they do detail where a lot of the expenditures coming. A lot of the expenditures coming on roads and water, and you know, in some of those examples where they're given details of it. You know, someone, you know, a couple of 20 meters of pipe, whatever is needed to finish a job, isn't available, can't be got very quickly. So they go to a local supplier and put it on the credit card. But the auditor also found that there's a daily limit. There's a transaction limit of €700. So no one should be spending more than €700 on any single transaction with a single supplier on any occasion. Presumably, if you're spending €700, you should be going through the normal pay processes and raising purchase orders and getting good value for money with 2 or 3 quotes or so on for that. But the auditors find that there's a pattern of circumventing that, where people will split the bill into 2 payments of 400 or whatever.
Yeah, I think if I were a materials supplier in the area and I learned that one particular supplier that wasn't me was being favoured for these, spends to get the project over the line, and there's processes there to ensure that should all be very fair, I might be a little bit peeved off. Stay there. Nicholas Crossan, former independent councillor. This is something, Nicholas, that you've had your eye on for some time. Talk to me about your reaction to Damien's piece.
Oh, very, very surprised, Greg, and good morning to everyone, of the revolution coming through here. I did ask that question. We, as the whip of the independent group, and back in the 2019-24 group, we meet regularly with a senior management team, preferably the county manager or the chief executive, and about, I'd say roughly around about Christmas of 2023, I asked that question at a whips meeting, and I was to get an answer, but then the time drew on.
But what flagged it for you? Was it a whistleblower, or were you looking at the book, so to speak? Like, why did this pique your interest?
A few things tickled me, Greg. The budget book itself, there's an awful lot of discretionary money within each directive, and I've asked about that on numerous occasions. The other one is working with charity groups, and been parochial now in Buncrana. It's almost impossible for us to get a credit card for a charity group. And I work with Christmas lights, and there's about 4 or 5 suppliers in Buncrana we go into, and I have to go around them in the end of October and say, look, our boys might be looking for cable ties or plugs or lights or whatever the case may be, and I'll come around on Christmas and pay you. So that's okay. So I have to go around now with a check. I have to get a check countersigned to go on to pay each person. It is laborious, as they say. I'm not too well up in the technology, but you could do electronic banking with some of them. But that is the position we're in. We can't get a credit. And I was wondering under trying to understand how Donegal County Council could get, and I thought at that time, I did genuinely think about 20-25 credit cards. But when I'm reading now that there's 270, and a very, very point, Greg, at the very end of the report, there's about 120 cards that spend absolutely nothing, up to about 150 cards that spend €165 or less. But the significant point of that, there's about 70 cards that spends absolutely nothing, maybe more, 120 cards I got counted. It cost Donegal County Council €4,500 to get those cards, because it's €30 per card. 150 cards by 30 is 4,500, which is money's got.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of vacancies within the council. Maybe they're waiting for people to be hired, and that's part of the welcome package.
No, this is ongoing. This is
Right,
not.
okay.
This is just not. Well, I mean, the vacancies for 8 months. I mean, like, in all fairness, if you take it, people, there's a list of cards. The spend on the card was €30, and that is for people that has got a card and never ever used it. Now, why in under God would you have something that you're not being used, and then something they oppose on the other side that has been overused? It just does not. I think there has to be a full overall look at this approach. This is public money. We need good governance in this here. Like, as I said, a charity can't even get a credit card to go around and this day and age to do it. So, as Damien went through the breaches, they're definitely, and come budget time, and there's always talk of budget time, this is where budget time comes in. Why are
Do you know what makes me laugh is I've been at council meetings where the sort of discretionary part of the spending budget has been far less than this money spent on credit cards. Like, you've got 38 or 36 councillors at the time arguing about what to do with 270 grand or something, and then you've got over $1 million. Listen, Nicholas, thank you very much for your time. So, what's the upshot of this, right? So, is it perfectly fine that there's 270 credit cards? Like, I'm trying to sort of get to what the auditor's findings are. Is it the 150 that's unreconciled? Is it is it the international spending? Like, in other words, if another audit is done, will they say, right, $1 million has been spent on 270 credit cards, but it was all in the Republic and there was receipts for everything, so everything's fine? Like, I'm trying to sort of get to the crux of what the story is here that the council are going to have to sort of address, Damien.
Yeah, so the auditor does make a series of reports, which he notes are the same, very many of which are the same recommendations that were made in 2020 and clearly then ignored by the council. So a couple of things is the credit card policy dates from 2016. That was to be updated. It was to be updated in 2022. It was never done. The big thing is that I think in a lot of cases the policy is being ignored. That's the big thing. It's probably less that the fact that there is credit cards. There will be times when it's needed. That's pretty obvious. But the fact that the policies are being so routinely ignored. So the internal audit recommends that the regular checks of those transactions are carried out by line managers, and that breaches of the procedures and so on are highlighted and are corrected going forward. So they want and more training for staff, obviously, in terms of informing them better of not to be using the credit card when they shouldn't be using the credit card. And exactly the transactional analysis as well found, incorrect receipts are being uploaded against transactions with insufficient support and documentation, and they're being attached to illegible invoices, and those are. It's hard to see how those are being paid out, and yet they are being paid out. And the council is, in some cases, when staff are doing this, and many of them are doing it for the right reasons. They needed this particular thing, needed to get it quick, but they're paying VAT on things that probably, if it was done, they're making it more expensive on themselves, because if the council was purchasing this through its normal paying procedure, they probably get a better price to start off with, and secondly, they would be able to zero rate things when they're purchasing from outside of the state.
And for me, really, what it boils down to, and you've been covering situations whereby, and I'm sorry to bring it back to this common denominator, but with defective block people who are actually on the scheme trying to get payments, paperwork being sent back, sorry, you've misspelt that, or that needs to be double checked. Contractors then waiting 8, 9, 10 weeks because there's so much scrutiny of that documentation. Like, we have a scheme that is so frustrating for people because there's such a level of scrutiny of these applications. And here we have, in a different part potentially of the same building, a complete lack of scrutiny in some. Not sorry, I rephrase that. The auditor has found that perhaps should be more scrutiny because almost 10% of this money can't really be accounted for, and I think that's what's going to hurt the public. The fact that families are struggling to try and get correct documentation over the line in one area of the council, as it might seem, and I'm making it very simple, whilst in another it's a little bit of the credit card Wild West. And that's for me is the controversy here, even more than potentially the lack of oversight of public money spending.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, you will have had many people on your show. We've reported it many times in the paper here about the hoops that Donegal County Council makes the MICA homeowners jump through in order to access their own money, which is their own grants, the grants that have been approved and given to them. And if an error code is missing from an invoice and all the other detail is there, that invoice will be rejected. And it seems that when, a Donegal County Council member of staff presents a bill or an invoice that is illegible, is wrong, is obscured by a credit card receipt, that the authorizer within Donegal County Council for that will take in good faith the staff member in that, and that good faith isn't extended to the MICA homeowners. And it struck me when I was reading this that there's probably a very clear solution to this. The county council staff who are working on the MICA scheme should be redeployed to take charge of the credit card scheme, because they pore over every application that is made, and they find if someone has rounded a figure down by 2 cents, they are able to uncover that. So maybe they should move over to the analysing the credit card payments, and the people that are in charge of credit card payments who show such good faith to their colleagues and the staff should be redeployed to the MICA scheme, and then they can approve the bills and the invoices that come in, which clearly are correct, but which the council, for its own particular reason and the bad faith with which it treats homeowners on it, they reject. So they could probably do a bit of redeployment within Donegal County Council to sort this. And to be honest, 276 credit cards, 1 in 4 people having a credit card. And then, as Nicholas said there, many of them maybe not being properly used or not being widely used. There probably does need to be reviewed. And Greg, you mentioned the budget at the end of the year. The executive, that's the council staff, they present the budget to the councillors as a done deal. And then there is a few, like I remember one particular year where the budget debate went on for a long time, and €50,000 of library books sorted it. So the councillors themselves fight over crumbs presented to them by the executive. And at the same time, the executive and the other staff in the council are just being flahulach with the public money that's there, while denying the councillors the ability to direct finance within the council in the way that they believe, as our elected representatives, it should go.
All right.
There's a bad mismatch there in that.
All right, listen, thanks for that. Damien Dowd, editor of the Inishowen Independent. Read it in full in his paper at Donegal Live as well. As he was speaking, as I was listening intently, someone in this building looks after a credit card, right? And it's just for... But I had to purchase an online subscription, tiny amount of money, right? But this person had to ask me 3 or 4 days in a row for this receipt for this online purchase. I think it works out at something like $78 a year, and $78 a year. And I was chased up for 2 or 3 days, and I was tardy, right? But my point is, in a small organisation like this, medium-sized organisation like this, you know, that invoice was chased up for 3 or 4 days, and I can be lazy at times. And then you think what's happening elsewhere. It's quite remarkable.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinley Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
I'm at Dublin Airport Terminal 1 doing a survey. Oh, here's someone. Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a question? How far did you have to park from the airport? Oh, that far. Did you know that if you'd taken an expressway coach, it would have been super comfy and so easy to book, and it would have dropped you right here at the door? Oh, you didn't. Oh well, next time. Bye. If you're going to Dublin Airport, book online at expressway.ie and get right to the door. Don't go the car way, go expressway. Way better.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
It may not be happening in our country. It may not be our crisis, our hunger, but our history, our scars, our sense of justice reminds us at Concern Worldwide that extreme poverty, wherever it is our concern. Visit concern.net.
Planning a celebration? Discover the brand new Lily's Restaurant at the Mount Errigal Hotel. A stylish new space with beautiful surroundings and your own private bar. Perfect for birthdays, communions, anniversaries and more. Book now at Res Diary or call 074 912 2700.
Enjoy family fun this Sunday at the Northwest Truck Fest on Neil T. Blinley Road, Letterkenny. There's live music, trophy presentations and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street at 5. This ad is sponsored by Cranford Store, 9155633.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
And life score better at the post.
Total anticipation, total nerves, total adrenaline, total mayhem, total speed, total excitement, total heart, total bravery, total triumph, total celebration. Experience the total thrill of horse racing with Live Score Bet. Total betting. Bet responsibly. 18+ gamblingcare.ie.
Nutria's Weanling Crunch is on promotion at your local Homeland. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Weanling Crunch ATP and get one free, or €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. For product details, contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist, or see nutrias.ie.
Is your couch older than your Spotify playlist? Is your dining table wobblier than your uncle at a wedding? If so, it's time for an upgrade at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny, the largest furniture store in the Northwest. From stylish sofas to elegant beds, from floor covering to occasional pieces, we've got you covered. And we offer free delivery within 80 kilometres. Grove Furnishings. Seriously good furniture.
Ireland, this is your broadband wake-up call. Over 275,000 people are waking up to Vodafone fibre broadband, now for just €25 a month. So stop snoozing on award-winning broadband. Switching is easy at Vodafone.ie.
Subject to eligibility, signing up to our €40 per month broadband package, €15 discount applied for first 6 months, an annual price increase of $3.50 each April. 24-month contract applies. For terms, see Vodafone.ie.
The Northwest Truck Fest takes place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny, featuring trucks from all over Ireland and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street on Sunday at 5. This ad is sponsored by K&F Superwools, 9139043.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
So the weather forecast, it depends where you're listening to us really. Long spells of sunshine through most of the day, though the further northwest you are, it might remain a little cloudier. Still mild, temperatures 17 to 21 degrees, and those winds remain light to moderate in a northeast direction. Thank you so much, so many of you. If you want to text in, by the way, on that last topic of the credit card spend in Donegal County Council, get in touch with us now, 086 60 25,000, and I'll carry the comments I have and your comments on that and so much more besides after the news and obituary notices. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy, and so much more.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work, or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the Northwest for intruder, fire, panic, and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126 6025.
At Dunn Stores, our autumn savers will get you back in the swing of things. With selected Kellogg's and Nestle cereals, My Waddy Double Concentrate 1 litre range, or Innocent Kids Smoothies 4-pack, all half price. Or a range of snacks and drinks like 7-Up 2 litre, Cadbury Twirl 5-pack, or Tato Snack 6-pack, mix and match any 3 for €5. And save more with your 10 off 50 or 5 off 25 vouchers. Dunn Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Craving that summer feeling? Sip your way into sunshine with Lipton iced tea. Lipton taste, summer feeling.
It's deliciously refreshing and uplifting. So go on, turn the volume up and taste that summer feeling. Lipton iced tea. Tea changes everything.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment. All have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
McGowan Hearing, your audiologist experts, now in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonna. Book your free hearing aid consultation in our clinic or your home across the northwest and beyond with Dara McGowan on 07191 00208.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. School secretaries and caretakers will go on strike later this month. The action, which coincides with the beginning of the school term, is being held by the trade union Forsa. It's calling for secretaries and caretakers to receive the same entitlements as their education colleagues, including a pension and access to bereavement leave. David Hearn is the chair of the Forsa School Caretakers branch. He's been outlining why they're taking the action.
It's about equality in the workplace. At the moment, secretaries and caretakers are not recognised as public servants, even though we work in a public service building. Our colleagues in the school, the teachers, the principal and the SNAs, when they retire, they will get a pension. On top of that, they have access to proper bereavement leave, critical illness leave and sick leave, all of which we don't have access to.
A man is due before Derry Magistrates Court today following a drug seizure in the city yesterday. Police say suspected Class A, B and C drugs with an estimated street value of £48,000 were seized during a search in the city side. A 30-year-old man was detained. He's been charged with offences including possession with intent to supply and being concerned in the supply of controlled drugs. Just 48 fines were issued for dog fouling across the country last year. Data collection by Vision Ireland shows no fines were issued at all in 14 of the 31 local authority areas in 2024. That list includes Donegal County Council. Cork County Council issued the most fines for dog fouling at 11, followed by Cavan and Fingal in Dublin, which issued 6 each. Vision Ireland has launched a Clear Our Paths campaign this week, highlighting awareness of the everyday obstacles faced by those with vision impairments on footpaths. Bray-based Bet Pete Weatherburn says it's very difficult to enforce the laws around dog fouling.
It's very difficult to get a prosecution because the people who do this, who get the prosecutions, the litter wardens or dog wardens, they need to actually witness the dog defecating, and then they need to see the owner walking away from the dog poop, and they need to prove that the person walking away from the dog poop is definitely in charge of the dog.
Crowds have been gathering this morning outside Westminster Magistrates Court in London to show solidarity for Kneecap's Liam Og O'Hanny. He's appearing before the court for the second time. Reporter Emily Keegan is there.
27-year-old Liam Og O'Hanny, also known as Macara, first appeared before this court on the 18th of June after being charged with a terror offence on the 22nd of May. It's alleged he displayed a flag in support of Hezbollah at one of the band's London shows on the 21st of November last year. The group has repeatedly denied the charge. This morning, the court will hear arguments over its jurisdiction in this case. During Macara's first appearance, the defence said it would argue the charge was brought against him outside the 6-month limit for it to be dealt with in this court. Crowds have already started to gather outside the building, with performances and speeches scheduled across the morning, including that from names like Maverick Sabre and Gurriers. We'll also find out this morning if an Irish language interpreter has been secured after the request was made at the previous hearing. Emily Keegan at Westminster Magistrates Court in London.
The Foyle Street car park in Derry will reopen this weekend. The facility opposite the Guildhall has been closed since major NI waterworks began last year. Tara Duggan has more.
The Foyle Street car park has been closed for a prolonged period to facilitate an extensive upgrade of the area's water and wastewater network. The work saw the replacement of the 100-year-old water network in this part of the city, as well as the installation of a dedicated stormwater pipeline and the completion of over 50 connections to local properties. Now that NI Water has completed the works, Derry City and Strabane District Council says it's back to business as usual from this weekend, and motorists will once again be able to to access what is one of Derry city centre's most popular parking facilities. The council says the closure helped accommodate changes to bus services for the duration of the works and kept public transport running smoothly during the scheme.
And in international news, the White House has suggested Hamas only accepted the most recent ceasefire proposal in Gaza after being pressured by a social media post from President Donald Trump. The group has agreed to a plan put forward by Qatar and Egypt, which would include a 60-day ceasefire. However, Israeli officials have poured cold water on the agreement, saying they're not interested in partial deals. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the US president is having an impact.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social yesterday. I would refer you back to that statement. As for this proposal that Hamas has now accepted, the United States continues to discuss it.
Weather forecast mostly dry with sunny spells this morning. The chance of an odd light shower with long spells of sunshine developing for most throughout the day. It will remain slightly cloudier in the northwest. Highest temperature 17 to 21 degrees Celsius in light to moderate northeast winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all the day's news, of course, on our website, highlandradio.com. Until then, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 20th of August. The death has occurred of Conor Porter, Town Parks, Raphoe. Conor will repose at his late residence from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock this evening and again tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral leaving his late residence on Friday morning at 10:30, going to St Eunan's Church, Raphoe for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed online via Kelly's Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Mary's Meals and Brindley Manor Residence Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Directors, Oakfield, Raphoe. The death has taken place of Mickey McCormick, Glendowen, Church Hill. Mickey's remains will repose at his daughter Amanda Boyce's residence at Cornegullion, Glendowen from 11 o'clock this morning. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Funeral from there on Friday morning for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Columkille's Church, Glendowen, followed by interment in Temple Douglas Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. And the death has taken place of John Edward Coyle, Andrehan Bunbeg. His remains will repose at his home today from 11 a.m. until Rosary at 8 p.m. John's funeral mass will take place tomorrow morning at 11 in St Patrick's Church, Meanawheel, followed by interment in Maharagallon Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page and on the church webcam. House private, please, after the Rosary tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. There will be a one-way system in operation to the Wake House. Enter at the Old Chemist and exit on the Factory Road. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Aldi's back-to-school lunches get 10 out of 10 for value. There's a whole range of tasty things to choose from, including bake-at-home white rolls, 4 for 95 cents, wafer-thin ham at the wafer-thin price of just $1.49, and 100% fruit kids smoothies, $2.49. Tell you what, someone's done their homework. Good food, good mood. From Aldi, while stocks last.
Welcome back to the 9 till Noon show. Great to have you listening, by the way. And I just don't throw that out. I mean that really quite sincerely. We are very appreciative of all of you that listen to us every single day. Why are we surprised, Greg? Donegal County Council has been blowing money for years. Highly inefficient organisation, says the listener. This is off the back, by the way. If you still tune in at 10, and some people still are conditioned to begin listening to this show at 10, and we appreciate you, but you missed so much between 9 and 10 as well, where we kicked the show off, and we were talking about credit card spending at Donegal County Council. An audit found in the first 8 months of last year I don't have the figures in front of me right now. I want to make sure I get it Exactly right. You see, €1 million was put on credit cards in 8 months of last year. And the story is that the council has issued 270 odd credit cards to staff. That equates to about 1 in 4 members of staff. The cards are only supposed to be used in the Republic. There was spending overseas. There were the acquisition of some items for legitimate council work. Don't get me wrong, that the auditor had some issues with. Spending limits were exceeded. Around 150 grand is hard to account for because of the quality of the receipts or invoices uploaded. So that's what we've been talking about with Damien Dowds, and former councillor Nicholas Crossan was involved in that conversation as well. All public offices, believes another listener, should be audited. There's so much public money being squandered. I'm sure it would be an eye-opener. Accountability has to be taken. Good morning. This credit card scandal at the county council is just sickening. DCB homeowners can't get their payments if they are 1 penny out. Damien and myself actually made that point because it's such a glaring point to make. Councillors passed this audit at a council meeting. Does that mean out of the 35 elected councillors, not one of them actually read them? It's 38 councillors we have now. But yeah, I take your point. Hi, Greg. The names of the staff and the name of the supplier should be public record, given it's public funds. Yeah, but, you know, that would suggest impropriety, right? And we have to be very careful in relation to that. No one is suggesting that things were bought on credit cards that shouldn't have been bought. It's just how they were acquired, what kind of tracking there was on that. I just want to be clear in relation to that. You mentioned the councillors. Obviously, the councillors have a very good relationship with the executive, and some of the executives' names are going to be on, according to Damien, redacted in these documents. So, I don't know. Greg, it's time for a proper investigation into Donegal County Council and its road workers. No proper check on their road workers and their expenditure. Well, there is. We have to be careful too with our language. I understand where you're coming from. That's your view. I don't. We don't necessarily back that, if you know what I'm saying. So I understand where you're coming from. I can't read all of that text because, as I say, the scope of your allegations goes beyond what we're talking about. Scandalous, please don't try to defend their actions, Greg. How did I? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. I do as much as is possible, have to cover all bases and be as fair as possible. I can't come on and, like some might on the X platform and Facebook, and say absolutely whatever I like, nor can anyone, because there are rules in relation to that. Anyone can see the blatant waste of money within Donegal County Council every day. And other defective block families have to jump through hoops and everything is returned if a T is missing. A cross on a T is missing. Yet this has been going on for years and no one's concerned about the poor practices. The auditor is, and we are. But I take your point. Hi, Greg. Dog fouling comes under the Litter Act, so people should contact their local litter warden at Donegal County Council. I would have thought that would have been the dog wardens. Pardon my ignorance. Parking on Downings Beach last Saturday was nothing but disgraceful. I walk that beach daily, but because an event was held on the beach on Saturday, cars were just dumped everywhere. The organisers didn't care for us locals. This was just despicable. I think you're talking about the pro-Palestine protest. Listen, a lot of the people that came to the beach that day weren't locals and perhaps aren't necessarily familiar with the etiquette, you know. What happens normally on that beach, like any beach, Rossnall is the same, for an example, is you come in and obviously there's cars parked right at the entrance and then you go up the way a little bit, but they all congregate into one particular area. I'm sure many people thought it was for a very good cause and they were in and out in a relatively short period of time. Am I going to get in trouble for trying to defend something a listener's not happy about? I'm sorry if that's how it comes across. Out of interest, is that work beginning on the Downings Carragart cycle walkway? I wonder. There is some machinery on site. It looks like maybe that finally is about to be delivered, which is good. Water outages overnight in Clonmany and surrounds last night because of some pumping issues, I believe. The water being switched off in the Downings area whilst we're talking about that. I got a note from Irish Water overnight between now and Thursday because water is running out. You know, this is going to be a really big problem, I think, going forward, especially in terms of planning and new developments. You know, we still have that hosepipe ban in Milford. There's still great concerns about water supplies elsewhere. And now in little towns and areas, we're seeing water going off at night to conserve stocks. And I don't think we can effectively catch the water from the sky. I don't believe we can to meet the demand. I could be wrong in relation to that, but it's a problem, and it's a problem that's, I think, going to get worse. Tell the listener to get an ant killer. This is the listener that had the creepy crawlies coming into the house. Tell the listener to get an ant killer and put it around the whole boundary of the house. It will stop them coming near. Put the plugs in all your sinks and baths down. They're coming from there. Had the same problem myself a few years ago. Great advice. Thank you so much for passing that on. And I presume the ant killer is available in your hardware stores and what have you. I wonder are they up the side of your house as well? A caller says, sick and tired of people thinking it's okay for their dogs to foul the beach. Families trying to enjoy the beach, but with dog poo everywhere. It's disgusting and a health hazard. Please pick it up, take a doggy bag, bring it home with you, bin it. Very simple. I wish the council would follow their own rules and issue fines to people following the dog to foul in public places and sometimes in beaches. And I'm going to throw up a little bit in my mouth. People kick a little bit of sand over the dog poo, and our kids and our families are running around on the beach. There's a tiny layer of sand over the dog poo. Squish, you know yourself. And it's not all dog owners, and I'm sorry to label that point. Hi, listening to your show about medical cards, it's a joke. I'm a pensioner. I'm 67 years old. I'm still working. My medication costs €100 per month. A doctor visit, €50. I won't get a medical card till I'm 70. I've worked all my life. Should be retired. Put my children through college. Paid for everything. People who work get punished all the time. It's an interesting story, and that's an interesting age, 67. Because you have a long working life behind you, potentially 50 years, maybe even more. And do we often talk, or have we ever really had a proper convo in recent years about people in that age bracket who want to retire? They think, right, I've done enough. I have done enough. I can give no more. How much good health do I have left? And I simply can't afford to retire. I have to keep working. I'm 67. Now, it's fantastic we're alive. Would you have been alive at 67 100 years ago, let alone working? And I'm delighted you're healthy enough to work. But I mean, like, what's going through the head of someone in their, mid to late 60s who has to work, but just wants to stop working and have a bit of time for themselves for hopefully the 30 years. You can easily have 30 years remaining. Don't get me wrong. I'm not writing you off. I'm not that far off this myself, but having to work when you don't want to work. Because we often talk about those that want to work, but they're being told they have to retire. Now, there is some work being done on that. But this person is 67. It's 3 years before they get a medical card. They're still having to work. They've probably still got bills. I mean, mortgage companies are giving people mortgages now to 80 years of age. People at 40 years of age are getting 40-year mortgages. I mean, when is the time to say, I need time to live? What are we working for? I know what I'm working for. I don't really care about retiring as such, don't get me wrong, but I'm just curious if this is if it pees people off in that age category, if that makes sense. Do I have requests for After 10, Caroline? Just because we normally play it. Don't run, Caroline. I can fill, darling. It's like Pamela Anderson coming in there. Good morning, Greg. Can you please wish my aunt Edie McDermott from Lifford a very happy 91st birthday. She's celebrating her birthday in Brindley Manor Nursing Home in Convoy. This comes in from Paul and Catherine in Lifford. So if you're listening, a very happy birthday to you, and a big hello to you and everyone, residents and staff at Brindley Manor Nursing Home in Convoy. We are hoping, Edie, that you have a very happy 91st birthday. So hopefully you're listening, or perhaps maybe it'll be right at the start of the podcast. Someone can play it back to you a little later on. But I hope you have a wonderful day. And I know at Brindley Manor you're going to be spoilt rotten between the staff and colleagues and your family calling in. Have a wonderful day.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 20th of August. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €1,000. The reference number is S8. It's game number 34. The numbers are 14, 72, 18, 8, 41, 42, 1, 57, 32, And finally, 45. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
The acclaimed play Three Hail Marys on Grainon Letterkenny, Friday, September 5th and Saturday 6th. See on grainon.com. Selling fast.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs, and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
A hot coffee, a movie, local flavours, live music. Letterkenny has it all. This autumn, you'll be surprised by all that's available in Letterkenny. This reminder is brought to you by Shop LK in association with Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. And I have in studio Caroline Henderson and her daughter, Evelyn. Good morning, Caroline. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you keeping?
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
You're doing okay. Yeah. Evelyn, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Are you enjoying your summer holidays so far?
Yes, I am.
And you're back at school next week?
No, I get an extra week off.
What?
School.
How did you manage to do that?
Because I'm getting a new school building.
Ah, very, very good. But you're probably mad to get back to school now, are you?
No.
You're enjoying the time with Mummy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, it'll all be grand when you get back in. They'll ease you in. Don't worry about that. Right. Caroline, I'm sorry to be talking to you in the context of the passing of your husband, Carl Henderson. He was climbing Mount Errigal on Saturday, the 26th of April of this year with 3 friends, and it ended very, very tragically. So in your own words, talk to me about Carl, his interests, why he decided to do this, whatever you're comfortable talking about.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us here. We're setting up a big fundraiser today in memory of Carl to put an AED on Errigal Mountain to hopefully the next family won't be in this position where they're left as a widow with 3 young children. So Carl was a larger-than-life character. He was born in England to a Welsh mum and an English father, and we were together for nearly 24 years, and he got the job as country manager for a company called Globus that does big PPE throughout the world, and he absolutely loved being in Ireland. He travelled around all 32 counties, and he loved going out and having food. He loved the crack. He was always laughing and joking, and just before he died, he took a selfie and made a joke and was having a great time climbing Errigal with his 3 friends. Really happy. It was his 3rd time climbing Errigal when unfortunately he died.
And he was in his 40s, a regular walker, so he wasn't pushing himself beyond something he wasn't used to. And he was one of those guys, and more of us should be like that was getting checks and stuff. And according to the medics, he was in pretty good health, yeah?
Yes, he was at the doctor in Moira just the week before. The week before the Easter holidays, and his blood pressure was normal with medication. His blood test came back normal. He was trying to actively lose weight. He was being fit and healthy. And the only thing he'd said to me, he got back up to Tralee. We have a caravan up there, and we spend lots of months of the year up here. And he just said he felt tired after the drive from Dublin. He was working in Dublin, which was really unusual for him to say he was tired. But I thought he was just mourning after having a week's holiday in Disneyland with the kids the week before.
I think that's one of those sort of retrospective indicators that you're never going to pick up. I mean, the amount of times I go home and I say I'm exhausted today. Do you know that sort of way? But I suppose, you know, after the fact, you kind of can, it makes a little bit more sense. So he took ill on the mountain, and it so happened that paramedics were hiking on the mountain at the time. So talk to me a little bit about the time frame of that.
Yes, so I think he roughly got to the car park about 12 o'clock and he climbed up the path, and it's a brilliant brand new path. It's fabulous. Carl and I watched the helicopter build the path over the last couple of years, and he got to the top of the path and he stopped to look out to the view of Tory Island. It was a beautiful sunny day. He was laughing and joking with his friends, had a drink of water, sat down on a flat rock, and then he stood up and he just collapsed.
Just in that moment.
And I think he died in that moment,
Yeah.
you know, as far as all the medical people have been trying to explain, trying to help me to make sense of
course.
this.
Because we think with a heart attack, but sure, listen, they were working on him really quickly. People survived that. But unfortunately, it obviously was a catastrophic medical event for him.
Yeah, catastrophic. And he did have the best help he could have got. You know, he had every third person walking the mountain that day was an off-duty paramedic, doctor, nurse. You know, there was, his friend said there was 2 nurses there within a minute of him falling. He didn't put his hands out when he fell, so that was quite a big indicator.
Understood, yeah.
And then, you know, Jerry Lane came really quickly, and I've heard he's an amazing doctor. And if anyone was going to save you, it would be him.
And they didn't give up on him either.
No.
They continued to work on him and did so until such time as the Coast Guard helicopter arrived and he was transported to Letterkenny University Hospital. But it quickly became clear that unfortunately he was going to succumb to this medical event.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you find out? Because, I mean, you got a selfie, right? So you're going, thank God he's all right. He's up there. He'll be home soon. You know, so as far as you were concerned, everything was okay and you were just getting on with your regular day without knowing this was unfolding. So how did you learn of his passing?
So I was at the play park in Lurgan up in Armagh with the children, and just a phone call came. I didn't recognise the number, and it was one of Carl's friends, and he said, "Oh, Carl's had a funny turn, and he's on the helicopter getting off the mountain." So I said, "Oh, well done. Tell Carl well done. Enjoy his drinks tonight. You know, well done for climbing Errigal." You know, it was the kind of thing Carl would maybe have joked with me.
Yeah.
You know, we'd had a joke about him climbing Errigal on the Friday. You know, I said it would be good for you, and he said, "Oh, stop, Caroline. You know, I'm not sure it will be." So I really thought it was a joke, and then I rang him back and I said, "Look, how bad is this? Is he unconscious?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, they've been working on him for over an hour now."
Yeah.
So I rang my sister who lives here in Donegal as well, and and I rang the children's godmother and I said, "I think if this is bad, you know, I need someone with the children, someone with me." And I said to my sister, she was at a cycling competition in Sligo, and my other sister was in Prague at the time. You know, if you get there before me, just hold Carl's hand and tell him that I love him. But unbeknown to me, by the time I got the call, Carl was unfortunately already officially declared dead. You know, it was 2.5 hours before anyone had phoned me.
You obviously know that maybe that moment that you wanted to happen didn't happen, but he passed in the full knowledge that his family loved him very much.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
And Carl was very loved, and he was a brilliant dad, and he was a very devoted husband.
We don't always have to be told it, you know. You can sense it. So don't you be worrying about that. I want to come back to that a little bit about sort of the chain of information, especially in a time-sensitive situation about a family finding out. We might come back to that. It is quite remarkable given how many of the defib machines, which is really what we're talking about, that's what people know them mostly as. These defib machines are everywhere, which is fantastic, right? But this is an area where people are, you know, not everyone's an experienced climber or doesn't necessarily know their health and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost remarkable there isn't one here.
Yeah.
We're also in that situation whereby we can almost be satisfied that it might not have saved your husband's life. It might not have saved Carl's life. But that doesn't mean we can't recognise the potential need for someone for one to save somebody else's life. So why did you decide to sort of focus on this? You know, we're heading towards the 6-month anniversary of Carl's passing, I would imagine. So why this and why now?
Well, really, it's a community that have come together. It's not just ourselves as Carl's family. It's the first responders that were there on the day. It's the paramedics that were there on the day. It's the bystanders. I think it was very hard for them waiting for a defib to arrive. You know, people, the land ambulance from Letterkenny got there within record time, within 23 minutes. Everything was done. People ran up the mountain with the defib. When they got tired, the next passerby ran up. Someone went and got the closest defib, which was in Dunlewy, and that arrived roughly just after the land ambulance from Letterkenny, as far as I'm aware. And I think must have been really hard for the people on the mountain that day, watching Carl die.
Give me the equipment that I can give this man a chance with.
Yeah.
And the fact of having to go to Dunlewy, which is close, but listen, down, up.
In a car.
Yeah.
Drive back.
And I presume then from the likes of Dr. Lane and others, they will know the best location for something like this, whether it's at the bottom or in the middle, probably not the top, so that's where we could get some good guidance from them on that, I presume.
Well, I've spoken to Mountain Rescue, and they have said actually they think the best place for the defib to go on Errigal is at the spot where Carl died.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good halfway point. It's at the top of the path before you start the steep incline.
Yes. And in terms of maintenance, there's experts up and down that mountain all the time. Do you know what I mean? Just to make sure everything is okay. And 6 months after his death, the 26th of October, you're organising a charity climb of Errigal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how does that make you feel? Because there's a lot of emotion in there, right?
Yes, a lot of emotion, and I think I have to just embrace Errigal and be really grateful that it's such a beautiful place that Carl died, and the ironic thing is I climbed Errigal as a 6-year-old, and my twins are now 6 and they lost their dad there. And Carl chose for us to get married in Dunlewy.
So it's important.
Very
for
important.
Many glorious reasons.
Yes, lots of good memories.
Some tragic ones. And I suppose he obviously had a great love of that mountain, and probably not all the time as you head up, but we've all lost people in very different ways, and this maybe doesn't help now, but he's taken in that beauty and the memories, and I suppose if you could pick, you never would pick a time, but if you could pick a place, obviously you'd want to be with your loved ones, but there's something comforting in that. Is really what I hope, that he was up that mountain and experienced that beauty.
And he was with friends, and he was in such a beautiful place, talking about great family memories we had. And, the nurses told me that they were holding Carl's hand and they were trying to bring him back round. There was a lot of love there from everybody that day. There was a lot of respect, the people that were there have told me, and all the jigsaw pieces coming together. And if there's anyone else listening that was there that day, I would love to hear their story. I think it'll help me to hear as many people that was there.
Yeah, make it real.
And make it real for me, because there's just a big gap missing. But I think
it's like you've been told something, and you have to fully believe that to mourn and grieve and get over what you're getting over, which is tough. So we recognise that, right? Because you're just being told a story.
Yeah,
it feels
it doesn't
like that,
seem real
doesn't
to
it?
me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And again, it's a tough week, and whenever you lose someone, the special dates seem to come around all the while. But you've got a very important one coming up on Friday. Very important to you and Carl.
Yes, on Friday it would have been Carl's 49th birthday, and then on Monday it should have been our 13th wedding anniversary. So it's a very hard week.
Yeah, it is. But I know that you've got very supportive, loving people around you, and I've no doubt Carl's not going to give up on you that quick. I'm sure he's knocking about here somewhere, making sure
definitely.
that you're all right.
And on the way up to Letterkenny Hospital, like by the time I got to Ballygawley, I could feel Carl with me in the car.
Yeah,
and I did have a good sense.
Not what exactly how you want him with you, but he's there.
Yes,
isn't that it?
Yes, definitely.
He was a joker, you say?
Absolute huge joker, huge joker.
Right,
yes.
Okay. Do you have the details of the charity climb on the 26th, Carolyn? Because people might want to help. This is in all of our interests. The Errigal's a natural amenity for all of us here, and I think we could all get great comfort. It's remarkable we don't have a defib on it. Really, really is.
Yes,
actually.
it is. Yeah.
So I think this will be a very, very important thing, and will enshrine Carl and his memory and the family with the mountain. Okay. So how are you doing the fundraiser, or have you got the details?
So we've got an I Donate page. It's called Climb for Carl, and it's just gone live this morning. And there's a Facebook page, an event Facebook page saying Climb for Carl.
Okay. So listen, I mean, obviously, if you want to climb donate, I think at this point, if you just want to go on I Donate and search Climb for Carl, you don't have to go near the mountain. You might just want to contribute to getting this defib in situ.
Yes.
All right, okay. Evelyn, how are you keeping? I know it's very sad listening maybe to this conversation, but we're remembering your dad, who was a great man. And what do you want to say to me?
Well, I wish that my dad was still alive, but if Letterkenny Hospital is listening, thank you for trying to save my dad and the people who are doing the CPR and the people who
did everything they could to help your daddy.
Yeah.
Okay, now you wouldn't know, but my middle son was your age when his mummy died suddenly as well, and it's very, very sad. But you'll be okay. You know that too, and you keep your dad in your thoughts, and he'll never be too far away from you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're just full of thanks for everyone who tried their best for your dad, right? Yes. Okay. Caroline, is there anything else that maybe Evelyn wanted to say, or is that what she did want to say?
I think that was all you want to say. And we just had a wonderful week the week before Carl died.
Come on you second.
Sorry.
I'll take over here, Caroline. Because where did you go, Evelyn? You went to...
I went to Disneyland Paris.
Okay, and what did you like about it?
Well, we went on this Hollywood Tower at the tower, and it was so fun because my little sister, there was this little girl on it, and she says don't scream or then they're gonna get you, and then my sister didn't scream, but I did scream. My dad screamed, my mum screamed, and my brother screamed. And then when we got off the ride, my brother was crying so much. And my dad and my brother took a picture, and there was like this light behind a box. Remember that, Mommy? Yeah. And you could see the little girl's hair, and then my brother got really scared, and then he started crying again because he thought that the little girl was gonna be in his dreams, and he didn't really like it.
I can imagine. So, and are you a big Disney fan? Do you like the princesses and all that? Are you that kind of a girl? Or?
No, I kind of like Stitch more, but
right.
If you ask my little sister that, yes, she really does love princesses.
And your little sister's 6, is that right?
Yep, she is 6.
And her brother is her twin, so he's 6 too.
Yeah.
So you're big sister looking after them.
Yeah, but...
And I'd say you never ever fight, do you?
We do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do. They're really annoying.
But as a big sister, you're just going to have to suck that up. All right, okay. Well, you can get angry sometimes. All right, but tell Mum or Granny, they'll sort it out. All right, Caroline, lovely memories for you to have, Evelyn, and you're a great wee talker. My job could be under threat here yet. So there's a climb of Errigal. It's a charity climb on the 26th of October this year. It's 6 months after the very sad and sudden passing of Carl Henderson from Moira?
Yes.
Moira in County Down, but very, very familiar to this part of the world, as is Caroline, and the children and family have spent so much time here as well. So listen, obviously, if you want to get involved in that climb and raise a few quid, I'm sure, as I say, this is a defib in Carl's name, but it's for us all. Or if you just want to back Caroline and the family and go on to iDonate and go to Climb for Carl and make a donation, it all helps. And there's a Facebook page as well. It's an event page, isn't it, called Climb for Carl. Anything else? Oh yes, Caroline, I wanted to discuss with you this gap between, you know, this catastrophic health event and you kind of finding out. Am I correct in saying that, you know, you think maybe there's something else we could look at going forward?
I guess, you know, there was 2.5 hours time delay between the 999 call getting made and someone contacting me. So I guess, you know, The rescue effort was absolutely outstanding. It was phenomenal. It gives me so much comfort that everything was done that could have been done to save Carl. I guess just moving forward in the future, if anyone is ever in a catastrophic medical event like this and they need to ring 999, just please be mindful to try and ring the wife, the husband, the next of kin in a timely manner, please.
Yeah, because time is obviously of the essence. And I think a lot of the story, your case, Caroline, is not everything might apply to your situation, but there's learnings there that maybe could improve things for other people.
Yeah, and I think if I'd had a phone call within, certainly 30 minutes of Carl collapsing, I could have met the helicopter at Letterkenny Hospital, and I could have been there when he was officially declared dead.
I know.
Which would have meant a great deal for me.
Yeah.
And Carl was in the mortuary by the time I arrived, which was absolutely brutal.
It's goes from a hospital bed or something, or it would have bridged that gap between what and helped with the grieving, because so many people suffered with grieving during the pandemic. Dare I say that word, because there's a process we go through that helps us understand what the hell's going on. And you've missed a big chunk of that, but hopefully you'll work through it. As I say, you've got...
I think the fundraiser is going to be great. It's given me a real positive 100%. To focus on. And if it saves somebody else's life or gives somebody else a little bit more time.
But there is inevitability of that. We know that's going to happen. It's not, often we talk about what might happen. If that defib is there, it will do exactly as you talk of. Hi, Greg. What an amazing young girl. I lost my dad when I was 10. I always chat to him, and I know he's always with me. Stay strong, Evelyn. So lots of people in the same boat, and more of this will make sense if it doesn't make sense now as time moves forward. Evelyn, thank you. You've stole the show, star of the show. Well done to you. Can't believe you're getting an extra week off school. All the other kids listening going, blooming hell, that's not fair. But anyway, it'll be good for you too. Caroline, all the love and strength that you need going forward, particularly for Friday.
Thank you.
And hopefully you can draw on the joy that you and Carl had to help you through the clearly the very difficult time ahead. And check out Climb for Carl. It's spelled with a C, by the way. Sometimes they knock a K on there. Climb for Carl with a C on iDonate. It would be lovely if Caroline stepped out and there was a wee rush of donations. But that's fine. Do it in the days to come. And also check out the event page on Facebook, Climb for Carl with a C, in case you want to get involved in that climb as well. Anything at all, Caroline, you wish to add before we wrap things up?
Just Marie, our close family friend, is organising buckets in the local shops in Gael, which is where my mum's from.
All right, okay, that's everything.
So thank you.
Yeah, so if we're sure we've mentioned everything Mum wanted mentioned.
Marie, is there anything else?
No. She's in the sidelines.
Thank you.
All right, listen, all three of you, well done, Marie. Thanks very much. It's very important that you were here. For Caroline and, is it Aveling or Aveling?
Evelyn.
Yes, okay, so I've said it correctly, haven't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just thanks for everyone for all the support on the day and the days and months afterwards. We really appreciate it.
One second. We've got a late edition for Marie. Go ahead.
Oh, and Michael McCafferty, the councillor.
Local councillor supporting you, of course.
Yes.
It's right in his backyard.
Yeah, he's pledged €2,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
All right, well done, Michael. That's great. He's on the show with us on Friday actually as well too, so I think as part of the Friday panel. All right, all three, thanks so very much indeed.
Thank you.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinley Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy and so much more.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
At Dunnes Stores, our autumn savers will get you back in the swing of things. With selected Kellogg's and Nestlé cereals, My Waddy Double Concentrate 1 litre range, or Innocent Kids Smoothies 4-pack, all half price. Or a range of snacks and drinks like 7-Up 2 litre, Cadbury Twirl 5-pack, or Tato Snacks 6-pack, mix and match any 3 for €5. And save more with your 10 off 50 or 5 off 25 vouchers. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
Granny, did you hear what I said?
If you've been saying, what was that? A bit more lately, it might be time to have your hearing checked. At Connect Hearing, we don't just fit hearing aids, we help you hear life again. From tiny in-the-ear styles to Bluetooth connected devices, we fit the best solution for you. Call 074 911 3296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Join us for a dance with Evelyn and friends at the Station House Hotel, Letterkenny, Friday 22nd of August, in aid of the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, Donegal branch. Doors open at 9 p.m. MC is the country boy Tommy Rosney, featuring Martin Orr, Hugh McLean Jr., Cass Hunter, and many more special guests on the night.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
Attention golfers, the rescheduled Ronald McDonald Golf Classic will take place at Dunfanny Golf Club on Friday the 22nd of August. Join us and enjoy the crack while raising funds for a worthy charity who help countless Donegal families while their children are required to visit or stay at the Children's Hospital in Dublin. A team of 4 costs €150 and includes food and great prizes on the day. To book, contact Dunfanny Golf Club on 074 91 36335 or visit dunfannygolfclub.com. Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1-800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
All right, Kilgar's with me now. Hi, Kilgar.
Hi, Greg. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I sort of made a passing comment about, a listener earlier on, 67, won't get a medical card to 70, worked all their lives, wants to retire but has to work.
Yes, well, as I say, I was the opposite, but
you wanted
I
to
think
keep going,
it's ridiculous.
didn't you?
I wanted to keep going, but unfortunately, I had to go at 65. Now, this was voluntary. Remember, I wasn't even getting. I don't get a pension or anything from it.
This was the Garda Reserve, wasn't it? Yeah.
Just a Garda Reserve. I actually can't believe. I think it was 4 years that I was speaking to you about this.
Yeah.
And I'd said I wanted to stay on, but I just think that we've come to a stage, and I was out for a 5K walk yesterday. I think I'm reasonably fit. I don't think I'm doting yet. But, I could be doing things. And you were talking, it was actually something you were talking about Shrewd, and it was on about parking and things like that. Those type of things, guards can't do that. Guards don't have the time to be out doing that. I could have been there. I could have been a reserve. I could have been out there. Lots of reserves would like to do things like that in the community when they can.
Yeah, because it's important work, isn't it? And it would take the pressure off the Gardaí and the criticism off the Gardaí as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you want to retire when you come and you get your pension, that's fine. I have everybody. I think 66 or 65, whatever they can, if they want to retire, yes, they should be able to retire. But if you want to go on, you should be able to go on.
Yeah.
But
I
don't think you should.
I don't want to sort of make it more dramatic, but the way it feels with me, this conversation, Kilgar, is that you're a healthy and hearty 69. You want to contribute to society, but you're being told, actually, you're too old, purely because of your your birth cert, not because of your ability or because of your health. But you're being told you can't contribute any more to society or law enforcement in this space because you're 69. Like, we've written you off. You're finished.
That's it. That's correct. Go out to the garden and do whatever you're doing, and that's about the height of what you can do. And it was the same on the day that I had to retire. I had to retire at 65 from the reserve. I retired on the 18th, but on the 17th I was out on the beat and walking. But on the 18th I wasn't able to do anything after that.
Earlier this
week, and it was voluntary.
Yeah, earlier this week, Kilger, we've been talking about school bus drivers in the same situation. One Tuesday, they're perfectly fine to drive kids around for bus hour, and Wednesday, no, you're too old, but you can pick them up and take them to football practice if you wish. You know what I mean? We need to really start reviewing and judging people on their ability, not what's on their birth cert.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to give you the scenario that I may have given it to you before,
Go
but
ahead,
this would be to do with policing, but in England they have special constables, which would be similar to reserves, but they would do a lot more. But I was watching a program, and this is way back, but I was watching a program where they had a special constable who was 70. He was out, and what he was doing was he was in his village, and the people were complaining about the speeding in his village and the schooling and all, and that's what he was doing. He was out with speed camera. He was slowing cars down. You know, he was 70 years of age, and he was quite capable of doing it. He was on the television talking. So, you know, that's good. But,
but look
here,
what he can contribute.
We just seem to say,
he's got time. He's got experience. His community policing. Do you know what I mean? That's vital. That's one of the greatest losses we've had, I think. When I was at national school in Lahey, you know, the guards were in all the time. Do you know what I mean? You knew the guards. You knew they knew you, which I think sometimes quite important as well. It was useful, and we seem to have lost that. All right, Kilgar, listen, I think it's a terrible way someone like yourself who is fit, healthy, and enthusiastic about contributing, but being told that you can't do it. And that's 4 years on, by the way. You were told this at 65.
At 65,
yeah. And I can confirm your sound. You said a little earlier on that you might be losing. You're not. I can tell by your conversation. You're in fine fettle upstairs. You're in fine fettle upstairs as well, Kilgar.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
All right, chat to you soon. Take care of yourself. 086 60 25,000. Dear Greg, people need to stop complaining. There are no famines, wars or genocides in Ireland. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. There might be no famines, but there's a lot of families struggle to feed their kids, right? And I know this sounds like I'm saying you're saying things are okay, and I'm saying no, they're bad. But there are people struggling to even eat in this country. There are children living in poverty that are malnourished. Now, their ribs aren't sticking out, if you know what I'm saying, but they're having to eat terrible food because their families literally can't afford to eat. You say there's no wars. Of course there's no wars, but and there's no genocide as well. But, you know, there is a lot going on and stuff that kind of, you could say it's under the umbrella of some of those words, not genocide, but other things as well. But anyway, listen, I take your point, and we do know that life is good and life is precious. But we also do know that we have to, at times on shows like this, try and improve things where they need to be improved. I'm sitting here very conscious of a place not too far from here where, you know, things are difficult at the moment, for an example. A lot of people have no shame or empathy. The people that litter, leave dog poop parked in disabled parking spaces, etc., really don't care if they're called out. They're too selfish and self-absorbed to care. And unfortunately, there are a lot of these types out there indeed. And these are the people often that if you were to say, excuse me, your dog's just done a massive crap there on that footpath, that they would tell you to F off. The same people that if they're parked in a disabled parking bay and you said, sorry, excuse me, could you move that car? You seem able-bodied and I need it for my children. They say, F off, I'm only going to be 5 minutes, you nosy parker. You know, so how do you get through to people like that? Buncrana can't get a road sweeper because of budget issues and the council can waste taxpayers' money. I think the people need to wake up. Well, we're wide awake. We're wide awake. We're having the conversation and people know what needs to be fixed. Morning, Greg. There are 37 councillors in Donegal. Most of them, the caller is quite disparaging towards them. Okay. Right. Thanks very much for that.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
Back to school and back to routine, says I to old Mr. Brennan. Alarms ringing, shoes missing, someone crying over a lost copybook. And that's just the parents, says he. But at least a fresh, delicious Brennan's family pan in the morning always goes to plan, says I. A slice of sanity in the morning madness, says he. A crust of calm before the rush, says I. That's why anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread, today.
All around Ireland, ordinary people are doing amazing things every single day with Return. They're turning empty bottles and cans into everything from vaccines to volunteer rescue boats. Like Buncrana Hearts Football Club, who are raising money through Return for sports equipment. Now, thanks to empty bottles and cans, their pitch is full. Join the thousands of initiatives using Return for Good at return.ie.
Injuries happen, illness strikes, but waiting in A&E doesn't have to be your only option. At Ophidia Letterkenny Minor Injuries and Illness Clinic, we treat everything from broken bones, cuts, burns, infections, rashes and more, with X-ray on site so you get answers fast. No appointments, no delays, just expert care right when you need it. Don't wait. Walk in today or visit ophidia.ie. Ophidia Letterkenny. Expert care without the wait.
At iMotors, we've been on the road with you for generations. As your authorised Kia dealer, we believe in what Kia stands for: safety, style and reliability. And we're the same, committed to helping you move forward with confidence. Take a test drive and find out why iMotors is your #1 Kia dealer in Donegal. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation. Enjoy family fun this Sunday at the Northwest Truck Fest on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. There's live music, trophy presentations and a truck convoy through Letterkenny Main Street at 5. This ad is sponsored by Cranford Store, 9155633.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Get back to school sorted with all the essentials from school jumpers to shoes. Visit our kidswear department in store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast. And long spells of sunshine will develop in parts for most of the day, though it will remain cloudier in parts of the northwest. Temperatures of 17 to 21 degrees. We're out and about on Friday. We are coming live from Dunfanaghy Golf Club. They've got a really important day there. They're raising money for Ronald McDonald House. You might remember, actually, Sean was in flagging that. So we're broadcasting live from that. As you know, as a listener, for the most part, it'll be business as usual, but we'll have a bit of crack and conversation from beautiful Dunfanaghy Golf Course, to be more specific. So that's this coming Friday. And also, too, there's some talk that maybe we might get involved in that climb of Errigal for that defib in Carl's memory. Me and Caroline might take that one on. We'll tell you a little bit closer to the time, because it's such an important thing. And it's a wonderful legacy, and it's something that should be there, I think. It's something that should be there in any case, because it's such an attractive place for people from all over the country to visit, not just those of us who can avail of it from within the county. So we'll talk about that anon. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp and text number, by the way. You can give us a call at 07491 25,000. Don't go anywhere, because the last hour of the show is as fun as exciting as the middle and first hour. So we want you on board for that. Marty says you can retire but still have a lot of knowledge to teach society. Marty, yeah, 100%. And it's lost almost when we don't tap into that, when people are willing to continue to contribute.
The 9 till noon show with the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music both days, family fun, the spectacular truck convoy and so much more.
Highland Bakery brings the magic to your morning tea break. Golden scones, still warm, soft in the middle and impossible to resist. Look for the packet with the rabbit on it. Fresh from the oven to your local shop. 25 years of Highland Bakery.
Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware, with stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Pocket the perfect match with Vodafone. Because when you pair the new iPhone 16, built for Apple Intelligence, with Ireland's best mobile network, you pay absolutely nothing up front. Simply switch today. Vodafone. Together we can.
Subject to availability and switching to our 24-month €65 plan by 31st of August 2025. Each April, the monthly plan price will increase by €3.50. Best Network Umlaut 2025. For certification and full terms, see vodafone.ie/terms.
Exam results arriving? You're invited to enrolment days at Northwest Regional College. On the day your exam results arrive, come along to your local Derry Londonderry, Strabane or Limavady campus to apply for a course or confirm your place. Choose from our wide range of apprenticeships, level 3 diplomas, foundation degrees and so much more. For more, visit nwrc.ac.uk/results. Northwest Regional College. From here to career.
Make the most of the last weeks of summer at Century Complex. Enjoy blockbuster movies, indoor soft play, thrilling crazy golf and delicious family meals all under one roof. Rain or shine, there's fun for everyone this August. Century Complex, perfect for keeping the kids entertained whatever the weather. Visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Restex Beds, leave the rest to us.
Don't miss the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Enjoy live music on Saturday from 4 till 8 p.m. with a special Century Hour on Sunday morning from 9 till 10. This ad is sponsored by Donegal Oil. 9121633.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, we are into the last hour. It's 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update. Good morning once again, Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A former member of Donegal County Council says there needs to be a review of how credit cards are used by Donegal County Council staff after an internal audit outlined routine breaches of spending limits and protocols. The auditor doesn't accuse any staff of wrongdoing, but the report notes over €1 million was spent from January to August last year across 276 credit cards, and as of now €150,000 remains unreconciled for the 2024 financial year. The figures are revealed in a story in today's Inishowen Independent by editor Damien Downs. In the last hour, Greg spoke to both Damien himself and to former Councillor Nicholas Crossan. You can hear that full discussion on our website highlandradio.com. School secretaries and caretakers will strike at the end of the month. The action, coinciding with the beginning of the new school term, is being called by the trade union Forza. It's calling for secretaries and caretakers to receive the same entitlements as their education colleagues, including pensions and access to bereavement leave. A man is appearing before Derry Magistrates Court today following a drug seizure in the city yesterday. Police say suspected Class A, B and C drugs with an estimated street value of €48,000 were seized during a search in the city side. A 30-year-old man was arrested. He's been charged with offences including possession with intent to supply, and being concerned in the supply of controlled drugs. Just 48 fines were issued across the country for dogfouling last year. Data collated by Vision Ireland shows no fines were issued at all in 14 of the 31 local authority areas. That list includes Donegal County Council. Cork County Council issued the most fines for dogfouling at 11, followed by Cavan and Fingal in Dublin, which issued 6 each. And huge crowds have gathered outside Westminster Magistrates Court in London. Kneecap's Liam O'Gohany, otherwise known as Macora, is appearing in the court this morning. His other band members joined him before they entered the court together a short time ago. There are speeches and performances taking place outside the court as the proceedings continue inside. And they're the headlines. Back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Donald. More on the way.
From the moment you start saving, it feels good.
For over 100 years, Ireland's state savings has been helping people of all ages to save, with a range of secure savings products including prize bonds. Save as little as you like, for as long as you want, with no fees or charges. Whatever you're saving for, we've got an option to suit you. Pick up more information at your local post office or search Ireland State Savings. Ireland State Savings. It's a good feeling. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, would you like to win $2,500 with John Bresson on Friday, or perhaps $2,500 on the Jive Time show the following week? Or could it be $2,500 on Lee Gooch's Naughty Alarm Clock the week thereafter? And on that same day, maybe even €10,000 in this show. Yes, that's right, folks. We have 4 great draws upcoming. We've already had one winner from Falcara picking up €2,500. And we've another $2,500 Friday, $2,500 the following Friday, $2,500 the Friday after that, and then 10 grand on that same third Friday of the big draw. And it's all part of Highland Radio's mega summer draw. And what a way to round off the summer with $2,500 or even 10 grand in your bank account. You can buy a ticket now for all 4 draws, by the way. If it's something that you wish to do, go onto our website, highlandradio.com, and click on the draw link. It's perfectly safe and it is secure. But that being said, maybe you prefer us to help you out. You can give us a call right now on 074 91 25,000 if you wish to buy your ticket for the cash draw. Just to remind you, you're buying into 4 draws, $2,500 on consecutive Fridays, 10 grand as well on the last Friday. So it's all very exciting. Your tickets are from a tenner, so you can get them for a tenner if you buy 5. So you can do that yourself or group in with other people, whatever you want to do. You might be listening and want to put them in 5 grandchildren's names or something. That's fine as well. You can individualize them in that regard. If you just think one ticket will win it, and it may well, then you can buy a ticket for €15. So if you want us to help you out, give us a call here, or if you have any questions for that matter, 07491 25,000. And maybe you just like dealing in cash. Well, we're not going to exclude you, but you will have to visit us here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny, and we can do your tickets in the office during office hours as well. So obviously only play if you can afford to have a bit of crack with it, and start planning what you're going to do with the $2,500, the $2,500, and then the 10 grand. Buy your tickets now. You're in all 4 draws, and then you can just listen. Are we bringing the trombola? We're hardly bringing it to Dunfanaghy with us on Friday, are we? No, we're not going to bring it with us. Maybe we should insist and make someone's life an absolute misery. Oh, I'm not doing it on Friday. Damn it. I was really going to try and make it really awkward for someone to try and get that trombola. Because you remember the hassle they had bringing it down to on Green on. No, it's John Bresson in studio with it on Friday. That's fine. It just means I can't be a little bit mischievous and start saying, you know, it'd be really good if it was with us. All right, so all jokes aside, if you want to buy your tickets now, 07491 25,000. The team will process them for you. Get on the website, highlandradio.com. Get in all 4 draws. It could be you. As I say, we should do a money map. We've got 1 dot in Falcara at the moment. Let's see where the next $2,500 goes on Friday. 086 60 25,000, our general contact number here, of course. Greg, could you bring up the topic about public facilities? I mean, where do people go in the town if they need the loo? Should the council not look at this? I presume you're talking about Letterkenny. Plans, I've been talking about it for ages, but apparently plans are well advanced for a toilet down around the Little Britain area, as some people call it, of Letterkenny. So we've been campaigning, we've been platforming the campaign for this for years. We seem to be close. I'll try and get an update as when that's expected to be provided. Right, James McGinley's owner of McGinley Coach and Travel. Imagine why. Good morning, James. How are you keeping?
Good. Thank you, Greg.
Right, now, we know Garda have property marking events coming up because it's a simple thing. It's trying to get the property people own back to their owners. In the same space here, though, this is just for handiness, really, I'd imagine. You're asking your service users to make sure they tag their luggage with contact details when travelling on any of the services. So what's this about then? What's happening that you think, right, we need to step into this space, James?
Just occasionally, as you can imagine, you know, there's lots of people travelling this time of the year. Airports are very popular, lots of people travelling to and from. And a huge amount of the luggage is very similar. In particular, if you look at those small, they call them the Ryanair black bags, they all look exactly the same. And the amount of people that travel on our services without as much as a tag or a name or anything at all on the bag. And then people arrive at the airport and, they'll see the first black bag they see and grab it and go. So I suppose it's to try and make people aware of that and try and make people put a mark so that in the event that two bags do get mixed up, that you're not waiting for a day for somebody else to realise that they've taken the wrong bag as well.
Yeah, of course, because, you might open it at the airport and realise, oh, my underpants aren't sitting at the top of the bag. And you're quite right to, like say, for instance, Lidl, I think they did a promotion on these bags. A lot of people are going to go in and pick them up there. Tesco the same and, Penny's the same and others. So they are going to be familiar. You need to identify your bag one way or other. And I think even saying, well, I put it under the bus towards the left, if you're one of the first, by the time everyone's on the coach, God knows where that is. As you try and safely and securely accommodate everyone's bags. It's simple, but a lot of us don't do it, James.
It is, and you do. It seems to be two different types of passengers. We get people that'll come that'll have 20 ribbons on their bag and will have more things on it to try and identify. And those customers are, they're being very right to make their bag stand out. But unfortunately, there are more of the other that don't bother to put. And even we talk surely about people travelling to the airport, but now at this time of the year, shortly students will be starting to go back to colleges as well, and that's another market that again it's very similar as well. Everybody having similar type bags and everybody in a rush on a Sunday night getting to Dublin.
Yeah. And ultimately,
to their accommodations.
It is our responsibility as well. I suppose it's not even the mistaken bags taken. That is a problem, James. But presumably, as people are disembarking, especially maybe if you've drop-offs on the way to a location, there's time there, and this would add up, where people might try and open the top zip to identify their bag. I wouldn't like to add all this time up over a year, but it's not efficient.
Oh no, it is, but it's more getting people to get their their bag if it does go missing. And we've had some unusual stories. Thankfully, it doesn't happen too often, but occasionally bags will get mixed up. And as I said, 99% of the time, it's always sorted out. But there could be a day or two waiting. We had a case last year where a customer took the wrong bag from the airport, and they didn't actually realise that they had the wrong bag until they landed in Dubai. But luckily for us, the person there, I think a family member worked for the airline industry, and they were able to fly back the following morning and swap the bags over in Dublin again and get back to Dubai the next day again. But again, it's all time. The other customer was without a bag for a day until all that happened.
And I'm not trying to trivialise that, but what a Donegal response to a problem like that. We know someone everywhere and get it resolved, don't we? Can you imagine out in Dubai with the wrong bag, and someone that works for an airline, and you're able to get the bag back in a day? I mean, I don't think there's another county in the country solves things like that.
Oh, only happens in Donegal. There was another customer that travelled with us that got off the coach at Dublin Airport, but was actually catching a connecting coach onwards to another part of Ireland. But when she was getting off the second coach, she realised that the bag that she had wasn't her own. But at this stage, she thought the mistake had happened on the second bag, but she didn't realise that she made the mistake when she was getting off so she never contacted us at all. She kept contacting the other bus company, hoping that the mistake was at the other end. But again, like that, it's a small industry, and the other coach company made contact through some of the WhatsApp channels that we use. Was anybody missing a bag at an airport? And thankfully, we got it sorted as well. So again, a simple, back to, I suppose, the point we were making, a simple bit of masking tape or a little tag of some description with your name and telephone number, it can.
And also,
save
what I
so
want
much
people
time.
to stop doing, right? Stop using sort of the Donegal headbands. Do you know those intertwined wool things? Because I use them.
That's right.
Right? I use that. and everybody else needs to stop using it. We can't all blum and use it, or I'll keep picking up the wrong bag. So I'm using that. I'm using the Donegal headband. Whatever you're doing out there, you do something else, because it's making my life too complicated. All right, okay. It's a little thing, but we don't think about it because we're making sure we've got our passports, or we're making sure we've got the keys to the student accommodation, and we just need to make sure we know our bags. All right, James, good stuff. This applies for your services, but every services. It's common sense. Cheers, buddy. Thanks very much indeed. That's James McGinley, owner of McGinley Coach and Travel. Have you experienced anything like that? Let us know. 086 60 25 1,000. Some comments here. A cost manager is required right across the board at Donegal County Council. An absolute public wastage. Every cheesy small photo you see includes them on the clock, plus expenses. This includes travel and subsistence allowance. Not all the time, but I get where you're coming from. Multiply this by all you see in these photos, possibly 20. One photo op costs you, the taxpayer, and this is minuscule in the scheme of things. A caller says, I've no choice but to keep working. I'm 64 and will only have my old age pension after working all my life. The difference between contributory and non-contributory is €11. Imagine someone who never worked a day in their life is only €11 worse off. How long do you have to keep working for, though? And how does it make you feel that you're 64 and you're going like, other people can do this, that and the other? A caller says, do you know what exactly is the job description brief of a county councillor? What would a typical week's work consist of? How do they work for me? Who voted them into the position? I mean, like, councillors work and they work hard. Some of them are going to work harder than others. Obviously, they're raising issues. A lot of public engagement. So if you don't contact your councillor and engage with them, you're not probably necessarily going to be aware of what they do. There is a group, some of the councillors who are very public, they're very active on the social media. They would release statements to the likes of us, etc. And then there are others who probably, work equally as hard, but behind the scenes, and you don't necessarily know what they are doing. I wouldn't like to take on the role of a county councillor, to be honest with you. Well, that being said, I'm literally on the clock in this job 24/7. I don't mind that at all, but I say that, and yet I think of all of the stuff, and a lot of the stuff we resolve off air. A lot of people would contact me or Caroline and Shannon actually now, indeed. And by the time, it could be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by the time the next show comes around, it's sorted, it's fixed. So we do a lot of our stuff off air as well. Hats off to Greg for the way he handled that interview with Caroline and her daughter. Very well done to everyone. They were great, and brilliant. Right, okay. I've got a picture of Mount Errigal in my WhatsApp here. Apparently, because I was saying a little earlier on. Let me see. I want to make sure nothing's identifiable. Okay, so for those of you watching, and the majority of you aren't watching, so I'm going to try and describe it. A caller earlier on talked of that 100-kilometre zone along the car park of Mount Errigal, that it's often down to a single lane and is dangerous. And I says, well, it's not always like that when I go past it. So a caller has taken a picture, and the car park is pretty busy. Cars are parked sideways for some reason. I don't know. Why aren't they parked nose in? But anyway, and there also is a number of vehicles, including what looks like a camper van on the left. We're heading towards Dunlewy in this picture, by the way. And there is a bus that's stopped. It's just stopped there. So this is a main thoroughfare that is effectively down to a single narrow lane. So that's exactly what the listener was talking about. That is dangerous. There needs to be a solution to that. Thank you so much for helping me understand a little bit better by sending that picture in. I do appreciate it. I'm not sure who that came in from, but listen, we do appreciate contacts from our listeners like that. Okay, we're going to be going to the base in Stranraer to find out more about the creation of an inclusive space for neurodivergent children. Ewan Quinn is going to be joining us very, very shortly. Stay right where you are.
The 9 to Noon Show with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday on Neil T. Blinny Road, Letterkenny. Gates open to the public at 4 on Saturday and 11 a.m. on Sunday, with proceeds to Cancer Care West.
Back to school at Brian McCormick Sports. Tracksuit bottoms, backpacks and back-to-school trainers. 20% off Adidas trainers for kids and adults. Click on BMC Sports for your back-to-school needs. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
New this week in Home Store and More. All home office desks and chairs are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price home office desks and chairs are gone, they're gone. Also, all toilet seats are still all 33% off, and all pet beds, toys and accessories are still all half price. But when all the 33% off toilet seats and all the half price pet beds, toys and accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
What would you do with €20,000 in cash? A holiday, a new car, or pay off those bills? Well, get ready for Highland Radio's mega summer draw and your chance to win big. We're giving away €2,500 cash every Friday from August 15th to September 5th. And on the 5th of September, one lucky winner will take home a whopping €10,000 live on the 9 till noon show. So that's 5 chances to win big. Tickets are just €15 or get 5 tickets for €50. Head to highlandradio.com and enter our mega summer cash draw now. Don't miss your chance to make this summer unforgettable. Only with Highland Radio.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
11:20. On this morning's Wellness Wednesday, we discussed creating an inclusive space for neurodivergent children. A truly inclusive environment for neurodivergent children is a powerful way, we're told, to foster their well-being and sense of belonging. Instead of trying to fix or change them, we can shift our focus to adapting our environments and approaches to meet their unique needs. Ewan Quinn's manager of the Base Centre. He joins us on the show now. Are you there, Ewan?
Yes, Greg. How are you?
Good morning to
Good
you.
to be on.
Right. So, talk to me about this project.
Well, as you said, we're at the Base Enterprise Centre in Stonarler and Basic, which is the Balbafay and Stonarler Integrated Community Company. So we're the committee in the town that oversees development of the town simply, and we're based at the Enterprise Centre. So it was something I'm a newer manager in the role here, and I have a background in sport and psychology, and we were looking at things, development of the town simply. So this was one that was on my list for a while, and I had been last year I'm part of a festival events committee for Fáilte Ireland, and I was listening to Adam Harris speaking there. So he comes under the As I Am Autistic Friendly Town. He's chairman of that. And I've been speaking to some parents and other individuals in the town and just looking at things to make the town more inclusive and services and needs in the town for everyone. So this is where the idea came up to set up a steering committee so that we can start things, get things going and start the ball rolling on just looking at the town and developing it to be more inclusive simply.
Yeah, now we know what that looks like because As I Am sort of have a bar where you can achieve this type of status. So what areas, is it easy to give examples of stuff that needs to be worked on? What needs to change or what needs to be included or adapted to receive As I Am status?
Yeah, well, As I Am is only one part of what we're looking at. So their main focus is sort of autistic friendly, but we're looking at, as you said, the neurodiverse. So being inclusive to everyone. So whether that's the neurodiverse community or people even with physical needs. So in order to do that, so you have to set up a steering committee, and then a town of our size, we need 10 businesses, we need 10 public service and 10 community organizations to do some training with on the As I Am program, which is approximately about an hour long, and also to offer services and to individuals, I suppose, from the neurodiverse or autistic community. to like the quiet hour shopping or programs in athletics or football and things, so that I suppose just making it more inclusive.
And I think really also what it does, because we use the word inclusive a lot, and the reason we do is because it's an important word. I think it's really for children that are neurodivergent, but particularly their families, that they feel they belong in that space, if that makes sense, that they're not always adapting to suit life. That, in other words, 10 of these businesses, community groups, whatever it might be, service providers, that they are making them belong in those places too, like everybody else.
Yeah, so as you said there, so that they feel they belong. So it's not a matter of, you said, them adapting to what it is. It's us that has to adapt. So we're in a position here just at Basic to drive that forward. And also there's lots of big developments coming in the town going forward. We have a recreational space in Trumbo Park, which is a 13-acre space in a greenfield site. So we have a great opportunity here, and we're involved in that in Basic here to look at plans for that and to develop that into, as you said, making it adaptable to everyone rather than them having to adapt to it. And also with the Greenway coming to Balbafay, which they say will be finished in 5 years. Again, will that be inclusive to everyone? Will everyone be able to have access to it and to use it? And also with all the sporting facilities, the community groups, we have basically everything in the Twin Towns here. It's a wonderful facility. So can everyone adapt to just, being inclusive, but so that, as you said, people don't feel that they're not being included.
And I can think of some examples. I think recently, actually, say for an example, the point I'm trying to make here, actually, we're not starting from zero. What the committee will establish as they move forward, I'd imagine, is that businesses are already making inroads in relation to this. I seem to recall not so long ago, for an example, we got contacted by the family of a child that was neurodivergent, and they rang ahead, I think it was to Jackson's Hotel, and they found them very accommodating and understand. So that's already a box tick. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I think as part of this journey, those that have been making the efforts individually will be recognised and can be included, and then others that perhaps need to catch up might be encouraged to do so as well. So the point I'm trying to make is you're not starting with nothing there.
No, absolutely not. I said, but it's education, really, isn't it, around all of this? So
it's understanding. Who doesn't need to? Some of the businesses that are most friendly and accommodating to neurodivergent children are managed or owned by families with neurodivergent children within them. There's that understanding. And they get it, and that's why they adapt their business the way they do. This is about reaching and making people who maybe don't have personal experience with it understand it a little bit better. And then when the penny drops, obviously it all becomes obvious.
Yeah, so part of that is, it's running campaigns, or it's promoting the understanding and then the acceptance of it. And I said it's working with people so that everyone is aware of it, and not just, as you said, some individuals are more aware of it because they have family members or themselves maybe neurodivergent or have needs. So they build that into, they think as far as that is, the likes of maybe the Jacksons with their business ahead. So it's getting everyone on board with that.
Is there an opportunity for the families or even people who are neurodivergent themselves to feed into this? Because, who's to say, that they aren't best placed to wonder how a business might be able to accommodate them, or a sports centre might not be able to accommodate them, or how McCool Park might be able to accommodate them, for example, or Finn Park for that matter, as it's redeveloped. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I understand there's a small committee, and I presume they're knowledgeable in this area. I've nothing to suggest otherwise, but I just... Will the people at the coalface be able to help along the process, if that makes sense?
Well, that's the idea. Now, the committee, essentially, we put out an expression of interest. It's not officially formed yet. We're working in the background on that. We had a meeting yesterday with ASIAM, and they're actually going to be coming to the town in a couple of weeks to deliver a public meeting on that, or brief on that. But So we put out an expression of interest, and we have over 30 people that expressed an interest to come on board on the committee. So that's from parents, a couple of adults that are neurodivergent themselves, teachers, professionals. So we'll have a wide range. The committee will be made up of a wide range of individuals that have various skills that can, I suppose, look at all of those things and just and help.
Okay, brilliant stuff. It's the very start of the journey, though. A lot of work has been done, don't get me wrong, and we look forward to seeing how things progress in the weeks, months and years to come. Thanks for your time, Ewan.
Okay, can I just say, on the basic Facebook page, if anybody is interested in coming on board with the committee, we're going to keep the expression of interest open for probably to the end of the week.
Okay.
So there's a jot form there, and you just fill in your information on the form, and we will review that and get back to you. So.
Yep, basic with 2 C's, by the way, if you're searching it. Thanks very much indeed. Take care of yourself. That is Ewan Quinn, manager of the Base Centre there. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, yeah. I thought it quite interesting. You know, there's lots of pubs have closed around the place. Over the last 6 years, between 2018 and 2024, 116 new homes have been created through commercial properties availing of a planning exemption to turn those properties into homes. And quite interesting, 26 new homes have been created by vacant pubs. So a lot of these pubs that have closed around the country, or around the county, sorry, I'm talking specifically of Donegal in this instance, 26 new homes have been created in some of these premises. But in total, 116 new homes created in Donegal as developers or owners avail of planning exemptions to convert commercial properties into. Did you know there was planning exemptions, by the way, to convert commercial properties into homes? There you go. Right, now, I'm joined on the programme by Marie O'Brien, who is the mother of Kiva from Strabane, who tragically died in a road traffic collision on the A5 in 2016. And Marie's calling for Kiva's law, which would ban the sharing of images at road traffic collisions on social media. Marie, thanks so much for joining us here. I know there was a lot of coverage of this some time ago, but it's really important, I think, to keep momentum going. I find it unimaginable that people take and share images of people in the most terrible of situations. And of course, you very much so would be in agreement with me, or me in agreement with you, I suppose.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How did this impact you, the sharing of images in your family, Marie?
In my family, I never looked at the images, but it was when the police came to my door at 10 to 2 in the morning, and I couldn't get my son until the morning, and the police liaison officer said that she would hold off releasing Kiva's name until the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But by 4 o'clock, Kiva's friends were phoning me. It was all over Facebook. It asked me, is this true? Is this, is Kiva dead? And I still hadn't got my son.
Wow. So
at 6 o'clock in the morning, I got my son, thank God, because I didn't want him to see it on a Facebook notification. But because if you learn of a death of your loved one like that, it's traumatic for you.
Yeah.
But luckily I got Christopher, and then the police released Kiva's name. But I'm talking to other families, they haven't been quite so lucky. They have found out from images on Facebook or social media about the death of their loved one or about the accident.
Yeah, we've seen that locally with the awful tragedy in Creasla. There was an image taken and was posted widely online. We've never published that image to this day, but vehicles and what have you were identifiable, and it caused a great deal of distress. Yeah. And whether people did it with any bad intent, I don't think so. It's a case of maybe just thinking and saying, what are the consequences here? I'm not a fan of pictures of crashed cars going into newspapers or online even well after the fact, to be honest with you, Marie, but that's just my own personal opinion, because I think it should be at the family's discretion, in my view, especially if the person died at the scene. I think that's incredibly private and personal. But we can't rely on people's good nature in relation to this, Marie, and that's why you're looking for Kiva's Law.
Yes. It's about, I suppose,